Chapter 2594. But now, Autumn Han couldn't hold on any longer. Just like the Heavenly Defense Alliance, it was collapsing like a mountain. Lightning flashed all over Autumn Han's body. No one dared to approach him. Autumn Han relied on his tribulation clouds and power to deter these unfriendly sections. Autumn Han wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and struggled to put away the tribulation clouds. He then stepped on the back of the vermilion bird and disappeared. The bearded man thought for a bit and chased after him. Boss seemed to be injured. Ning Shu was taken out of Nine Palace Mountain by the black hole and quickly entered the second level. When Yi Lin landed, he felt like he was surrounded by clouds and mist. He couldn't see his surroundings clearly. As soon as his feet touched the ground, Yi Lin fell to the ground. "I thought I was dead for sure," Ning Shu said. "How did you get caught?" "There was a soul fluid refiner. I stole his soul fluid and used cicada shell shedding to escape." Yi Lin shrugged and said, "Then the Heavenly Defense Alliance chased after me. I didn't want to come. What kind of torture did they use on you?" His face was as white as paper. "They whipped my soul and a man nagged me every day. I can't take it anymore." He was talking about Autumn Han. That was more than a little long-winded. "Master, this is the soul fluid I found. I left some for the insects." Autumn Frost took out a very small spatial ring, and then took out several gourd-like magic tools from it. Ning Shu took a look and found that it was quite big. It seemed that this brat had been collecting this much soul fluid. Ning Shu didn't refuse and took it. "Be careful in the future. Cultivate more. If you meet someone stronger, run. Nothing is more important than staying alive." One needed to be strong enough to resist. Yi Lin nodded. He had fully realized the importance of strength. If it wasn't for his lack of strength, he wouldn't have been caught without being able to retaliate. "I found the purple crystal that Master mentioned, but the temperature is very high. I can't get in at all," Yi Lin said. "Really? Where is it?" Ning Shu was quite happy. With this purple crystal, he could deal with the law of nothingness. Even if he had to boil it, he had to boil the law of nothingness dry. Ning Shu pointed his finger at Yi Lin's forehead and dripped a few drops of emerald green liquid. Yi Lin immediately felt refreshed, and even his tired spiritual sense recovered a lot. This master of his was really mysterious. He thought that she wouldn't come to save him, but she did. When did he become so strong that he wouldn't be afraid of the Heaven Guard Alliance? He didn't need anyone to save him. "Tell me which direction. Take me there." Ning Shu lifted Yi Lin. Yi Lin looked around. "Where is this place? I don't know how to get there. Why don't we find a place with people and ask for the name of the place? I remember the name of that place." "Okay." Ning Shu led Yi Lin to a small town. This town seemed to have been built not long ago. Everything was new, and the houses were built with mud. As soon as Ning Shu entered the town, she saw many people with sickles, hoes, and feather dusters blocking her and Yi Lin. Ning Shu couldn't help but ask Yi Lin, "Is my reputation among the people really that bad?" Ning Shu felt that she was a down-to-earth girl. Why was she so scared when she saw her? "Yi Lin, did Master not know what kind of person he was? Where did Master's confidence come from?" She had a great reputation, but it wasn't a good one. Although she wasn't ugly enough to scare children, she was cruel enough to make them stop crying. The hands of these people holding the hose were trembling as they wiped their sweat. The more timid children almost cried. Of course, there were also cultivators in the town who could cultivate. When they saw Ning Shu, their expressions changed greatly. They immediately bowed and greeted her, "Senior." A powerful person like her had a strange temper. She would kill anyone who provoked her. Privately, many people said that this red-clothed demoness must have been abandoned by a man. That was why she was so cruel and willful. Ning Shu asked him, "I know, where is that place?" Ning Shu turned to ask Yi Lin. "At Phoenix Mountain." "Yes, how do I get to Phoenix Mountain?" Ning Shu asked the cultivator. The cultivator took out a crude jade slip. "There is a map in this jade slip. Senior, take it and use it." Ning Shu accepted it without hesitation and threw him a spirit stone. "By the way, do you have any soul fluid to refine?" No. I'm too weak to refine soul fluid." Not everyone was qualified to refine soul fluid. Ning Shu nodded. If you don't refine it well, you'll be dead. You shouldn't have to suffer like this. Ning Shu left with Yi Lin. After the two demons left, everyone let out a long sigh of relief. It was too scary. They finally escaped from death. Is it called Phoenix Mountain because it's very hot or because there are phoenixes there? Ning Shu asked. I don't know if there are phoenixes there. That place is very hot. It's a barren desert where not even a blade of grass grows. An average person would die of dehydration in a quarter of an hour. Ye Lin had found a purple crystal in a cave. When he went in, the scorching temperature had already scalded him. Soon, they arrived at Phoenix Mountain. Although it was called a mountain, it was actually a barren desert. The heat was so hot that it was distorted. They didn't enter the barren land. They were still at the edge of the barren land. They could feel a wave of hot air blowing against their faces. It seemed to be able to roast their souls. Then let's go in. Ning Shu wrapped his soul with a water enchantment to prevent his soul from being hurt. His soul still felt uncomfortable after being struck by lightning. If it was roasted like this again, he wouldn't be able to bear it. The water enchantment wrapped around the two of them. But once they entered the barren land, the two of them were like walking humidifiers. The water on their bodies evaporated into white mist. Ning Shu didn't dare to be careless. He desperately added water to his body. He saw the cave entrance from afar. The cave entrance was distorted. The heat was so hot that the light was distorted. How high was this temperature? Approaching the cave entrance, Ning Shu felt that his soul was very uncomfortable. Walking into the cave, the temperature was even higher. The wood law imprint started to cause trouble again. It probably couldn't stand this temperature. Fire and lightning were things that the wood law imprint feared. It was very delicate. It was ultimately not water that could contain everything. Who is it? A man's vigilant voice came from the cave. Then a man came out. The two of them looked at each other in silence. Ning Shu greeted, "We meet again." Qiu Han frowned as she looked at Ning Shu and Yi Lin. Was this master and disciple following her? Ning Shu saw that Qiu Han's face was pale under the heat. There was a hint of green in the white. Clearly, Qiu Han was injured. Yo, your body doesn't seem to be feeling well. You must be injured. Is the backlash very painful? /BK. Chapter 2595. Lightning flashed on Autumn Han's body, crackling like static electricity. Hearing Ning Shu's familiar words and asking if her body hurt, Autumn Han felt that the pain that she could bear was now even more painful. Her heart hurt and she was angry. The heat made her body contort. Autumn Han looked at Ning Shu warily. His body was in such a condition that he had to fight with this woman. It was very likely that he would die. Ning Shu said, "I heard it was quite hot here, so I came to have a sauna. What about you?" Autumn Han said, "Same. That's fate. Let's go together." Ning Shu said and was about to go into the cave. But Autumn Han stopped him, making it clear that she didn't want Ning Shu to go in. Ning Shu looked up at her. "What do you mean? You can go in but I can't. Is your name written here, or will the cave answer you if you call it? I dug this cave so... Please get out of here." Ning Shu immediately retorted, "Nonsense. My disciple dug it." Yi Lin, who was watching, was speechless. Autumn Han wasn't angry. She said, "If he can call it and the cave agrees, I'll give up this cave." Ning Shu said to Yi Lin, "Call it." Yi Lin thought it would be a miracle if it agreed. He couldn't. Autumn Han's body didn't allow her to argue with Ning Shu, but this demon girl wouldn't leave. Why did she come here? Ning Shu looked at Autumn Han's pale face and said with concern, "You look like you're going to die." Autumn Han. "This is not the Heavenly Defense Alliance, and I don't want to fight with you. I just want to go in and see if there are many purple crystals inside." "I need them," Ning Shu said directly. Autumn Han was eager to get rid of Ning Shu. "I can give you a purple crystal. One piece is not enough. I'll go in and take a look." Ning Shu pushed Autumn Chill aside and walked into the cave. Yi Lin glanced at Autumn Frost and hurriedly followed his master. Towards this long-winded man, Yi Lin had a shadow in his heart. He was afraid that he would start nagging again. The deeper they went, the hotter they felt. Everything in front of them was red, and the walls were covered with fiery red stones. Not far away, there was orange-red lava rolling. It was very hot. Yi Lin's hair was already standing on end. His face was black and red, as if he was about to be roasted. Ning Shu felt very uncomfortable, as if his soul was being roasted. Ning Shu's feet were on the ground, just like teppanyaki. Ning Shu could only float and not land on the ground. Autumn Frost stood in front of Ning Shu. "You can't go any further. I'll go in and take a look. If there are purple crystals, I'll need them," Ning Shu said directly. For Autumn Frost to stop him like this, there must be something even better inside. Autumn Frost pursed her lips. Her face was ugly. "Don't go too far." Ning Shu pushed Autumn Frost aside, but his hand was stung by the lightning on his body. It was a tingling pain. The deeper they went, the hotter it was. Ning Shu was having a hard time moving. There were purple crystals on the walls occasionally. But what was more frightening was that there was an orange-red crystal floating in the air. This crystal was spinning, and the heat it radiated was enough to roast anything. It seemed to be something even more powerful than the purple crystals. Ning Shu saw that Yi Lin's body was blistering from the heat, so he asked him to go out and wait. If she and Autumn Frost fought, she would have to worry about him. Also, there was lava all around. If he fell in, he wouldn't be able to get out. Yi Lin didn't try to be brave. Being in the cave was like being in a steamer. He went out and waited. Also, if these two big bosses were to fight, he wouldn't be able to stop them or help them. He might as well leave and feel better. Although it was still hot outside the cave, after experiencing the high temperature, Yi Lin actually felt that it was really cool outside. Ning Shu stared at the orange crystal. If he threw it into the sea of nothingness, he didn't know how long it would cook. On the other hand, Autumn Frost was extremely calm. The lightning on her body gradually disappeared. There were no longer any crackling sounds. Ning Shu sized up Autumn Frost. Why did she set up such a place? You are using high temperature to suppress the backlash of the tribulation clouds? Was this really scientific? In theory, the temperature of lightning was extremely high. Using this kind of temperature to suppress it, Ning Shu felt that it was inconceivable. When the temperature is high, the tribulation clouds will be loose. Autumn Frost said. Ning Shu squinted his eyes. Could it be that the weather was too hot and dark clouds wouldn't gather easily? Especially when there was a drought, when the sun was high up, dark clouds wouldn't form. There wouldn't be thunder or rain. Was this the principle? Using this method to weaken the power of the tribulation clouds? Ning Shu really wanted to give him a thumbs up. He could even think of such a method. However, it was still useless. The tribulation clouds were obviously trying to get rid of him. Even if he bitterly held on and didn't let go, there were obviously no benefits. He would even harm his body. However, powerful strength wasn't something that could be given up so easily. Just like Ning Shu's peerless martial arts, he had already used up so much of his soul source, but he was still doing stupid things. This situation could only mean that Autumn Frost was no longer a person recognized by the heavenly Tao. What she once had was being taken away. To destroy a person like this, giving it unconditionally and then taking it all back. Who knew, it might even cause a person to turn black. What about this crystal? Ning Shu pointed at the orange crystal spinning in midair. Is there only one here? There's only one, but the temperature is very high. Autumn Frost said directly. Ning Shu looked at the crystal and flew up. His hand was covered in a layer of ice as he grabbed the crystal. Autumn Frost just looked at him coldly. This was something that not many people could withstand. Chi-chi. When his hand came into contact with the crystal, a lot of white smoke immediately evaporated. Then, Ning Shu felt his palm burning. One of her hands was melted, and there were orange flames jumping up her arm. It was as if it wanted to melt her entire soul. Ning Shu didn't hesitate. He pulled out his broadsword and directly chopped off his arm, condensing it back into an arm. This temperature was too frightening. This was the legendary burning of all things in the world. Ning Shu was very afraid. The purple crystal from before had already made him feel that the temperature was very high. Now this stone was even higher. There was nothing to put this thing in. The moment the mess in space got close, it would melt. No wonder Autumn Frost watched him grab the crystal and was very calm at the side. It was obvious that she had expected this situation. Ning Shu grimaced as he looked at the crystal. There was a good thing now, but he couldn't get it no matter what. He was too conflicted. Ning Shu glanced at Autumn Frost. He was unhappy and stabbed him in the heart. I advise you to give up on the tribulation cloud. It's obvious that the tribulation cloud won't be for you anymore. Why don't we let go of each other? This kind of backlash would make Autumn Frost's body unable to bear it. No matter how broken the peerless martial arts were, it wouldn't backfire on her. She wouldn't stop. Chapter 2596. But Autumn Han had to endure the pain at all times. Autumn Han's face darkened when she heard Ning Shu's words, but she still said gracefully, "You can't take this stone away. I'll think of a way." He had to take it away. The high temperature would definitely shrink the law of nothingness. Then this thing will be mine if I take it away. Ning Shu pointed at the orange crystal. Autumn Han didn't say anything, but she was sure that she couldn't take it away. The two were silent. Ning Shu said, "Everything in the world is developing. You know you're right, but it's not what you think." So, Autumn Han looked at him indifferently. "Don't take the stone from me. Giving up the clouds is your best choice." Autumn Han, "You're the one who's robbing. You have to be able to take it away." Ning Shu walked out of the cave and said to Yi Lin, "Let's go." "Where are we going?" Yi Lin asked. He glanced at the entrance of the cave. It was strange that they didn't fight. "Let's find a place with abundant spirit qi first. You can cultivate there." If he didn't have much ability, he would be beaten up in the Jianghu. Today was the Heavenly Defense Alliance. What if someone sneakily attacked him again? Yi Lin nodded and followed Ning Shu out of the Phoenix Mountain. He asked, "Master, don't you want the crystal?" Hadn't he been looking for the crystal before? Why didn't he want it now? "We'll talk about it later. Let's find a place for you to cultivate." He had to settle Yi Lin down first, and then find a way to take the crystal away. The master and disciple wandered around aimlessly. They stopped when they reached a place with abundant spirit qi and set up a spirit gathering formation. Cultivate well. When your qi becomes golden, you can go out to train. Qi had colors. It could be transparent, golden, gas, solid, or water. In short, it would take time to cultivate. Also, don't feed the earthworm's soul fluid. It'll be fine as long as it doesn't starve to death. What will it eat when there's no more soul fluid in this world? Ning Shu said to Yi Lin. The earthworm muttered curses. "What's wrong with giving it to me? If I give all the soul fluid to her, I guarantee that she'll be grinning from ear to ear. Eating some soul fluid will be like eating her own." He reminded Yi Lin again and again that he should not go out to play before his strength increased. There were many powerful people out there. Then he opened the black hole, exited the Nine Palace Mountain, returned to the system space, picked up the ultimate martial art and ran. Yi Lin had just sat cross-legged to cultivate when his master suddenly jumped out, giving him a fright. He always felt that she was secretly observing him from somewhere to see if he was slacking off or cultivating. "I hate the cold." "What are you going to do if you don't cultivate?" "Cultivate properly," Ning Shu said. He took the peerless martial art and headed towards Phoenix Mountain. Yi Lin was speechless. He had just sat down. Even if he wanted to cultivate, he needed to prepare and empty his mind. Ning Shu entered the cave. Autumn Han opened her eyes and looked at Ning Shu, who had left and returned. Lightning flickered on his body and crackled loudly, causing his face to turn pale. If he still didn't give up like this, then it would only end in a lose-lose situation. Not only would he not leave behind the item, but he would also lose his life. Ning Shu looked at the orange crystal. Since there was no place to store it, he would just throw it into the law of nothingness to evaporate it. But as soon as she got close, her soul would burn. She had to carry this thing into the world and then throw it into the law of nothingness. During this period of time, he was afraid that she had already been burned to ashes. What should he use to carry this thing? The temperature was so high that it could probably burn anything. Damn, he was desperate. The good thing was right in front of him. Autumn Han just looked at him silently. She did not believe that he could take it away. If he could, why didn't he carry it with him? Why did he have to open a cave here? Ning Shu tried to use all kinds of tools to hold the crystal, but the tools had already melted under the high temperature. Under such heat, the leaves of the Law of Wood imprint in his hand curled up. They were like grass leaves that had been roasted by the sun. He had to get rid of this crystal quickly. Otherwise, the Law of Wood would not be able to hold on. The Law of Wood was very delicate and was the nemesis of fire. Now, the Law of Wood was unable to hold on under such heat. Ning Shu thought for a moment and took out a rose. This rose could even withstand time and light. He did not know if it could withstand such heat. Autumn Han was speechless. What was wrong with this flower? Why was it always able to take out strange things? Ning Shu took the rose and carefully approached the orange crystal. He held the rose branch and moved the crystal. This crystal was the size of a palm and had the color of a crystal. After moving it like this, the rose did not burn. Even the leaves did not curl up. The flower was still delicate and beautiful. This thing was really good. He did not know what this rose was. It could actually withstand time and light. It could also withstand such high temperatures. It was simply amazing. Ning Shu rolled up the rose branch and sandwiched the stone between the branches. Although the temperature was very high, it did not melt her soul. Ning Shu dove into the peerless martial art as if his but was on fire. He ran very quickly and threw this thing directly into the Law of Nothingness like a shot put. Instantly, the Law of Nothingness boiled. The red-hot iron was thrown into the water, and it rapidly bubbled. It was not bubbling like boiling water. In a short while, even the lakeside was filled with mist. Ning Shu breathed a sigh of relief. Otherwise, how could he have brought this thing in? However, Ning Shu immediately realized that the temperature was so high that it would definitely corrode the stellar stone. This was a method that would cause both sides to suffer. If the stellar stone could not hold it, then it would be terrible. So now she had to find the stellar stone. Ning Shu hurriedly left the peerless martial art and ran away with it. Autumn Han was left in a mess in the wind. He felt as if someone had slapped him in the face. It was extremely painful. He was sure that this demoness would not be able to take this away. In the end, a flower took it away. Without the crystal, the temperature in the cave dropped a lot. Although it was still unbearably hot, to Autumn Han, this temperature was not enough to suppress the tribulation clouds in his body. Autumn Han's face was green and white. Did the heavens really want him to die? Did he really have to give up the tribulation clouds? How could he give up something like this? Why was it like this? Autumn Han clenched his fists tightly. Lightning flashed all over his body, just like the Thunder Qilin. The Thunder Qilin's lightning was a part of its body. However, Autumn Han's lightning flashed and damaged his body. It was as if there was a wild beast in his body that had lost control. It could break out at any time and devour his life, leaving nothing behind. Chapter 2597. That demonic woman was right. He was suffering from the backlash of the tribulation cloud, but he couldn't give up the tribulation cloud. Even a strong-willed cultivator wouldn't be able to give up something he once had. He didn't know if the moment he gave up would be the sublimation of his soul, or if it would become an obsession in his heart. Autumn Han was speechless and wanted to ask the heavens. Why? Countless whys lingered in his heart. Why did the tribulation cloud abandon him? Did it want to find another master, or, when he got the tribulation cloud, he wasn't that strong, but the tribulation cloud was so obedient and never rebelled? But now that he was strong, why couldn't he suppress the tribulation cloud? He wanted to curse 10,000 times in his heart. The crystal was taken away by the demonic woman. If this was really the arrangement of the heavens, he was very unwilling to give it up. The lightning on Autumn Han's body flashed even more fiercely. His expression was even more painful. He suppressed it and walked out of the cave. Don't be so restless. I'll let you go, okay? Autumn Han said helplessly. He really didn't understand why it was like this. The lightning on Autumn Han's body stopped flashing. Autumn Han smiled bitterly and stretched out his hand. There was a small dark cloud gathering in his hand. The dark cloud grew bigger and bigger. It floated into the sky and into the distance. It floated away without looking back. Autumn Han stared at the dark cloud until it disappeared into the horizon. His body was empty. He was used to the pain of the backlash, but one day, it didn't hurt anymore. He really wasn't used to it. He didn't know what to do. He felt a little lonely and cold. He felt that there was no value in his existence. Heavenly Defense Alliance, Psi, City, Psi. He felt that there was nothing left. This life that he had left, Psi, Autumn Han sighed in his heart. He stepped on the vermilion bird's back. The vermilion bird flapped its wings and flew away. Ning Shu hurriedly returned to the system space. He opened the chat system and found an he. Ning Shu, quick, boss, give me another star stone. And he, no, didn't you ask for one last time? What did he mean by asking for it? She bought it well. He made her sound like a beggar. Ning Shu, sell me another one. I need it urgently. And he, I'm not selling. I'm a little busy right now. Bye. Ning Shu was dumbfounded. He didn't even want to earn money. Was he playing hard to get? Ning Shu said again, how much do you want? According to Inhe's character, he probably wanted to raise the price, but she really wasn't in the mood to bargain with him. And he, I'm not free. Several planes have been destroyed. I'm busy. Ning Shu was speechless. If you were really busy, would you send me a text message? I really don't believe you. Ning Shu, the price is negotiable. And he, do you not understand or what? I'm busy right now. If you really want this thing, do you have a living world to store the creatures from the broken plane? If there is, I can even give you a piece. Even though they were separated by the screen, they could still feel Inhe's irritable aura. Ning Shu choked. Fuck, I can't even straighten my back and speak in such a cowardly manner. Ning Shu was so anxious that his legs were shaking. Think of a way? Think of a way? A dead pig isn't afraid of boiling water. At this point he could only be skinned. He couldn't imagine that the law of nothingness had collapsed, and it was at such a high temperature. He covered his face. Ning Shu opened the black hole and entered the third level of the Nine Palace Mountain to see if there were any changes there. If possible, could he store some creatures on the third level? In the future, when these creatures died, they could add some soul power to the world of reincarnation. However, not all space could store creatures. There had to be things that creatures could survive in, such as food and air. After entering the third level, Ning Shu thought that he was in too much of a hurry. He entered the second level and went out before entering again. Ning Shu was speechless. This was the third level, right? Ning Shu felt that he might be hallucinating. Otherwise, why would there be grass and trees on the third level, which had nothing before? However, the climate was quite chaotic. It was hot one moment and cold the next. It hadn't stabilized yet. The temperature difference between day and night was so big that he doubted life. However, there was oxygen in the air. There were plants. Plants absorbed sunlight and produced oxygen, which was enough for creatures to survive. Ning Shu touched his chin. This world should be able to store creatures. However, it didn't seem to be complete yet. She could go and join in the fun. If she couldn't use it, she could also buy some star stones. Moreover, the chances of using the third level should be very small. She was going for the star stones. There were broken planes, so there must be star stones on the plane fragments. Ning Shu felt that such a large star stone should be able to hold on, but what if it couldn't? Ning Shu exited the system space, opened the chat system, and said to Inhe, I have a world that can store creatures. Inhe, get lost. Ning Shu was speechless. Motherfucker, I really have one. I'm going to lie to you. You're my son. Inhe, then wait. Ning Shu waited. He felt that some people deserved a scolding. Not long after, a black hole appeared in her system space. Inhe, bastard, crawl through this hole. Ning Shu was speechless. What the fuck? If he wanted to argue with Inhe, it would take a few days and nights. Ning Shu walked into the hole and remembered that he had walked through such a passage to the battlefield. He was traumatized. After walking for a while, light finally appeared in front of his eyes. What he saw was a busy scene. There were many plane fragments floating in the air. Some people were collecting these fragments to prevent these fragments from flying to other planes. Many people were holding onto the planes to prevent the planes behind from falling off because of a fault in the middle. It was like a broken rope. The rope had to be pulled, tied, and connected. There were so many planes behind that they had to be pulled. How much strength was needed? The soldiers of the army used all kinds of props to pull these planes. Otherwise, the cracks would affect even more planes. And he pushed the planes with a solemn expression. He was wearing a military uniform, no longer a flowery shirt. Many mission takers were picking up plane fragments. Those who could pick up plane trash were all big shots. Such a scene made Ning Shu's heart go numb. Kacha, kacha. The cracking sounds coming from the plane were like rotten wood. The creaking sounds were especially shocking. And where's the person you said was pretending to be a living being? Tai Shu shouted at he. And he glanced around and saw Ning Shu. Hey, get over there. What are you standing there for? Ning Shu responded with an "oh" and ran towards him. With a loud crack, a plane exploded behind Tai Shu. It was as bright as fireworks. After a loud bang, a surge of power gushed out of the plane. Ning Shu was almost unable to move under such a huge force. Chapter 2598. And his furious voice rang in his ears. Catch it. Don't let the other planes collapse. Ning Shu ran over with difficulty. Senior Uncle was collecting the creatures in the plane and controlling the fragments. Otherwise, the fragments would float to the side. He stood motionless, the wind whipping at his windbreaker and hair. The fragments of the plane scratched his face. Blood oozed out. Soon the wound healed. You have a world of creatures. Take it out and put in creatures. Senior Uncle said directly. Ning Shu opened his mouth and was filled with words. I can't take it out. She couldn't take out the 9 Palace Mountain. Besides, it had merged with the world of reincarnation. Although they were one, she didn't have the right to control the 9 Palace Mountain. Senior Uncle directly yelled at he. Who are you looking for? Why did you call a world without creatures? Are you out of your mind? And he was desperately pulling the plane. When he heard this, he immediately shouted at Ning Shu, You don't have a world of creatures. Why are you pretending to be a big shot? Ning Shu was speechless. The world can't be taken out in the world of reincarnation. If you take it in, it may not be able to carry creatures. Ning Shu quickly opened the black hole. Senior Uncle walked in, and Ning Shu hurriedly followed. The third level, it's the third level. Ning Shu repeatedly emphasized that the second level of the world was forming a new order. If foreign creatures were added at this time, the world was likely to collapse, and the order would be in chaos. Entering the third level, Ning Shu hoped that this world didn't have the standard to put creatures in. But if he went out, he would definitely be scolded badly. Senior Uncle frowned and looked at the world. In the end, his face was expressionless. Ning Shu breathed a sigh of relief. They definitely couldn't put creatures in. The Grand Elder threw all the living beings in the plane into it, and they disappeared in an instant. Ning Shu stared at the creatures that suddenly appeared in the world, dumbfounded. Savages, huge dinosaurs, and huge pterosaurs flying in the sky? Damn, they were all heavy creatures. The big dinosaur was more than 10 meters tall. Ning Shu was speechless. This was clearly the Jurassic period, or had the Jurassic dimension exploded just like that? This plane probably hadn't existed for long, and it had exploded just like that? Could it be a deformed plane? Could it be that the Sea of Laws was unable to supply laws and laws? Ning Shu looked at these bewildered creatures with a worried expression. Such a large creature would be destroyed sooner or later, because the plane couldn't bear such a weight. Ning Shu's heart was extremely complicated. He hoped that this world could support living beings, but at the same time, he didn't want it to be able to support living beings. Ning Shu gave up on worrying and arrived at a new environment. The creatures that couldn't adapt were the first to be eliminated. Only those who had strong adaptability and tried their best to adapt to the new environment could survive. Ning Shu floated in the air and looked at the sea creatures that had floated up. Due to the high temperature of the ocean, these marine creatures couldn't adapt and died one by one. Natural selection. Giving them a new environment didn't mean that they had to protect every living being and ensure their survival. An ugly savage actually knelt down when he saw Ning Shu floating in the air. He muttered something and kowtowed to Ning Shu. It turned out that early humans had faith. Don't be superstitious, believe in science. No, it was better to be superstitious. Human development was unexpectedly fast. It was a huge burden on the plane. Perhaps not many creatures survived here, but the savages were definitely among them because of their intelligence. What was the use of being big? Muscles grew in the brain. Ning Shu left the world and the world of reincarnation. He also helped to pick up plane fragments. Some plane fragments didn't have much weight, but some fragments that contained laws were very heavy. Ning Shu actually couldn't carry them. In this day and age, if he couldn't even pick up trash, what was there to look forward to in life? She also wanted to see which fragment had star stones embedded in it and prepared to take some. Hey, newcomer, the law fragments have to be separated from the normal fragments. Ning Shu, who was picking up trash, said. Ning Shu, don't worry, I won't make a mistake because I can pick up the normal fragments. Ning Shu was burning with anxiety. He didn't know when it would end and when he could get the star stones. He didn't know if the star stones in the law of nothingness could hold on. She took in a creature from a plane, so she could ask for the star stones. Ning Shu dragged the garbage bag to his side. And he was not paying attention, so he stepped back and stepped on the garbage bag. Of course, the garbage bag had a very large capacity, and the debris inside it made cracking sounds. What are you doing? Ning Shu said, You said you could give me a star stone? I don't care who you ask. Star stones are used to link planes. You can ask him. And he pointed at Senior Grand Uncle over there. Senior Grand Uncle. Ning Shu. Ning Shu dragged the bag to Senior Uncle's side and saw that he was dealing with the star stones on the fragments. There was already a large pile beside him. Can you give me a star stone? Ning Shu reached out and touched the stones shining with starlight. Senior Uncle glanced at him. Get lost. Ning Shu, damn it, why didn't he tell her to get lost when he used her world? These guys were all ruthless beasts. Ning Shu dragged the trash bag and walked back to he. He said fiercely, Believe it or not, I'll tell everyone about you selling star stones. You're abusing your position for personal gain and secretly selling star stones. And he, who was wearing a military uniform, smelled of blood. She heard Ning Shu say, Okay, you can tell everyone. I don't care. Ning Shu was dumbfounded. Are you all so shameless? Didn't you say you'd give me one? My trust in you has dropped to the lowest. She let the third level of the 9 Palace Mountains suffer for nothing. You're so stupid. How dare you blame it on me? Can't you find the inlay fragments and buckle them yourself? Do you want me to send them to you? I'm so busy. Why are you nagging me about star stones? And he sneered. He seemed to think that talking to Ning Shu was a waste of time, so he turned and left. Ning Shu took a deep breath and began to pick up the fragments. Some rule fragments. Ning Shu stuck out his butt and sprained his waist, but he didn't pick up the fragments. Ning Shu went to a person and asked, How can I move rule fragments? Of course, it's light when you've mastered the rules, the big boss said lightly. Ning Shu, was it so awesome to pick up plane fragments here? Mastering the rules. There were so many rules in a plane. There were 3,000 great das. Did one have to master all these rules? That was really awesome. You haven't mastered a single rule? He stared at Ning Shu. Are rules the rules? Rules are rules and rules are rules. What's the difference between the two? Ning Shu asked, puzzled. He felt that he still had a lot to learn. Chapter 2600. That which was right. He was being counterattacked by the power of the tribulation cloud. But he couldn't give up the tribulation cloud. Even a strong-willed cultivator would be reluctant to part with what he had once possessed by force. He didn't know if the moment he gave up would be a sublimation of his soul or an obsession in his heart. Autumn Han was speechless. But countless whys lingered in his heart. Why did the tribulation cloud abandon him? Did it want to find another master, or, when he got the tribulation cloud, he wasn't very strong? But at that time, the tribulation cloud was so obedient and never rebelled. But now that he was strong, why couldn't he suppress the tribulation cloud? He wanted to curse 1,000 times in his heart. The crystal was taken away by the witch. If this was really the arrangement of the heavens, he was very unwilling to give it up. The lightning on Autumn Han's body flashed even more fiercely. His expression was more painful. He suppressed his emotions and walked out of the cave. "Don't be restless. I'll let you go, okay?" Autumn Han said helplessly. He really didn't understand why it was like this. The lightning on Autumn Han's body stopped flashing. Autumn Han smiled bitterly and stretched out his hand. There was a small dark cloud gathering in his hand. The dark cloud grew bigger and bigger. It floated into the sky and into the distance. It floated away without looking back. Autumn Han stared at the dark cloud until it disappeared on the horizon. His body was empty. He was used to the pain of the counterattack. But one day, it suddenly didn't hurt anymore. He was really not used to it. He was at a loss. He felt a little lonely and cold. He felt that there was no value in his existence. The Heavenly Defense Alliance, alas, the city, alas, he felt that there was nothing left. The life he kept, alas, Autumn Han sighed in his heart. He stepped on the back of the vermilion bird. The vermilion bird flapped its wings and flew away. Ning Shu hurried back to the system space. He opened the chat system and found an he. Ning Shu, and he. What did he mean by, "Do you want it?" Did she buy it well? He made her sound like a beggar. Ning Shu, and he. Ning Shu was dumbfounded. She didn't want to earn money. Was she playing hard to get? Ning Shu said again. According to Inhe's character, he probably wanted to raise the price, but she was not in the mood to bargain with him. Anha. Ning Shu was speechless. "If you're really busy, will you text me? I really don't believe you." Ning Shu, and he, even though they were separated by the screen, they could still feel Inhe's irritable aura. Ning Shu choked. Fuck, I can't even straighten my back and speak in such a cowardly manner. Ning Shu was so anxious that his legs were shaking. Think of a way? Think of a way? A dead pig wasn't afraid of boiling water. At this point he could only be skinned. It was unimaginable that the law of nothingness had collapsed, and at such a high temperature at that. He covered his face. Ning Shu opened the black hole and entered the third level of Nine Palace Mountain to see if there were any changes. If it was possible, could the third level contain some living beings? In the future, when these living beings died, they could even add some soul energy to the world of reincarnation. However, not all living beings could be stored in a space. There had to be things that the living beings could survive in, such as food and air. After entering the third level, Ning Shu thought that he was in too much of a hurry. He entered the second level and went out first. Ning Shu was speechless. This was the third level, right? Ning Shu thought that he might be hallucinating. Otherwise, why would the third level, which had nothing before, suddenly have grass and trees? However, the climate was quite chaotic. It was hot and cold at the same time. It had not stabilized yet. The temperature difference between day and night was so big that he doubted his life. However, there was oxygen in the air. There were plants. Plants absorbed sunlight and produced oxygen, which was enough for living beings to survive. Ning Shu touched his chin. This world should be able to store living beings. However, it didn't seem to be complete yet. She could go and join in the fun. If she couldn't use it, she could also buy some star stones. Moreover, the chances of using the third level should be very small. She was going for the star stones. There was a broken plane. There must be star stones on the plane fragments. Ning Shu felt that such a large piece of star stone should be able to hold on. However, what if it couldn't? Ning Shu went out of the system space. He opened the chat system and said to Inhe, "I have a world that can store living beings." Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu waited. He always felt that some people deserved to be scolded. Not long after, a black hole channel appeared in his system space. Ning Shu was speechless. What the hell? If he wanted to scold he could go on for several days and nights. Ning Shu walked into the hole. He remembered that he had walked along such a channel to the battlefield. He had a psychological shadow. After walking for a while, Light finally appeared in front of him. What he saw was a busy scene. There were many plane fragments floating in the air. Some people were collecting these fragments to prevent them from flying to other planes. Many people were holding the planes to prevent the planes behind from falling off because of a fault in the middle. It was like a broken rope. The rope had to be pulled, tied, and connected. There were so many planes behind that they had to be pulled. How much strength was needed? The soldiers of the army used various props to pull these planes. Otherwise, they would break and affect more planes. And he pushed the planes with a solemn expression. He was wearing a military uniform, no longer a flowery shirt. Many mission enforcers were picking up plane fragments. Those who could pick up the trash of the planes were all big shots. Such a scene made Ning Shu's heart numb. Kacha, kacha. The cracking sounds coming from the plane were like rotten wood. The creaking sounds were especially shocking. And where is the person you said was pretending to be living beings? Tai Shu shouted at he. And he glanced around and saw Ning Shu. Hey, get over there. What are you standing there for? Ning Shu responded with an "oh" and ran towards him. With a loud crack, a plane exploded behind Tai Shu. It was as bright as fireworks. After a loud bang, a surge of power gushed out of the plane. Ning Shu was almost unable to move under such a huge force. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. Chapter 2601. Ning Shu opened the black hole and entered the world of reincarnation. He first went to the third level of the Nine Palace Mountain. As soon as he entered, Ning Shu suspected that he had gone to the wrong place. The entire world was covered in white snow. How long had it been? Why was it suddenly snowing? Dinosaurs ran in the snow. Some fell to the ground from the cold and never got up again. Ning Shu frowned. Why was there no pattern in this world? The weather was crazy. There had to be at least 4 seasons. Sunny, rainy, cloudy, thunder and lightning. Such extreme changes happened so quickly. No matter how strong the body was, it couldn't withstand the torture of such irregular weather. If it suddenly snows now, it might suddenly become extremely hot in a few days. Without a suitable environment, how could these creatures survive? A light suddenly flashed in Ning Shu's heart. Could this be the so-called rules? The changing of the world, the growth of all things, the change of the weather, birth, growth, aging, death, reincarnation, rebirth, growth, aging, death. Life was endless. It was a circle. The 4 seasons changed and went in a cycle. Therefore, there had to be a stable one that could form a circle. Only then could everything in the world develop and survive. Ning Shu suddenly felt that the grand uncle was very black-hearted. This world didn't have a complete cycle, but he still threw these creatures here. Only a few would survive. There was also the possible impact on the world. Compared to the other planes that could be affected, these living beings were obviously nothing. Ning Shu made a green rain to add some vitality to this world. After thinking about it, he went to the Phoenix Mountain in the 2nd level of the world and dug out some purple crystals from the mine. These purple crystals weren't as hot as the orange crystals, but it was still possible to melt snow. If he didn't do something, all the creatures here would freeze to death. The purple crystals were boiling hot in the space of the ring. They could melt mesons immediately. He hurried to the 3rd level and took out many purple crystals. As soon as the crystals touched the snow, they melted quickly, revealing the withered grass buried under the white snow. Ning Shu made hand seals. His fingers moved quickly. He made more than one array. He used the purple crystals as the array core. Rolling heat radiated to the surroundings. With the formation as the center, hot air surged in all directions, and the white snow turned into a gurgling stream. With the warmth, it was as if spring had returned to the earth. The withered grass began to sprout again. From now on, this place is considered spring. After a period of time, it will be summer, autumn, and winter. Ning Shu mumbled to himself, but his voice traveled far and wide. Different places had different climates. Even if it was hot all year round or cold all year round, it was fine as long as the weather did not suddenly change. In order to prevent the sudden melting of the snow from causing a flood, Ning Shu directed the water to flow into the ocean at a very fast speed. The seawater was no longer orange-red. It had turned blue, which was the normal temperature. The snow was probably to absorb the heat of the ocean to melt the snow. The temperature of the ocean would drop a lot, and the creatures would be able to survive. But when it snowed, all the creatures on land became frozen meat. By the time the snow melted, most of the creatures on land were gone. However, as long as there were creatures in the world's oceans, they would slowly develop like the land, and some would evolve into land creatures. Some would have to be sacrificed to fulfill the rules. Ning Shu vaguely understood what the rules were. To put it bluntly, it was a fixed pattern. If there was a problem with the pattern, if something went wrong, then the world's rules might be broken. Now that he understood what the rules were, it was not a wasted trip. Ning Shu took away the purple crystals in the array core. In the end, he saw a group of savages wearing thick animal fur kneeling before him. They were mumbling something that he did not know. Ning Shu was speechless. "Don't worship, it's creepy." Ning Shu was really afraid that one day, his image would appear very abstract and ferocious on the ancient murals. Ning Shu disappeared in a flash. The savages kowtowed even more sincerely and prostrated themselves on the ground. When he reached the second level, Ning Shu went to find Yi Lin and instructed him not to wander around for the time being. Once everything was settled, he would go and do the mission. He had to do the mission. Ning Shu walked into the barrier and saw a little girl wearing loose men's clothes. When she saw Ning Shu, she was so scared that she dropped the basin in her hand. She quickly picked it up and sized up Ning Shu. You are Yi Lin's master?" Ning Shu: "Yo, where did this little beauty come from?" I am by Cici." "Cici, what's the matter?" Yi Lin came out of the straw hut. Ning Shu was speechless. Previously, this place was bare and a barrier was set up so that no one would discover it. But now, there was a straw hut inside. Was this a shared love nest? Yi Lin quickly cupped his hands to Ning Shu. "This is by Cici. She was chased here and your disciple saved her." Yi Lin really liked to save people. This by Cici looked younger than Yi Lin, but her bone structure was many times better than Yi Lin's. Her bone structure was crystal clear. Such a talent would be a treasure in a large sect. Looking at the girl's eyes, she probably had an extraordinary background. Perhaps something had happened to her family. Ning Shu's gaze swept back and forth between Yi Lin and Bai Cici. In his heart, he could not help but imagine a scene of their youth meeting and knowing each other. But one day, the elders of the girl's family came and forced the two of them apart. From then on, the lonely youth embarked on the long path of the strong, chasing the love in his heart. Yi Lin was speechless. Bai Cici was speechless. She didn't know why, but her master's, senior's, gaze was so disgusting. I just came to see if you went out to wander around." Ning Shu said, "I might not be back for a while." If he went to do a mission, he wouldn't appear here. Yi Lin was already used to his master disappearing and then suddenly appearing. He didn't know how long it would take for his master to disappear. He said very calmly, "Got it?" Ning Shu glanced at Bai Cici. Would she be his future disciple's wife? He didn't know if Chiohan had a wife. If Chiohan didn't have a wife, Yi Lin would probably continue to be lonely and fight for the heavenly Tao. "Buy some clothes for her. Don't wear yours. They don't look good and have a bad influence." Yi Lin said, "It's not good for her to go out." He heard that she was being searched everywhere. "If that's the case, then as your master, I'll make a trip for you." Ning Shu sized up Bai Cici's height and measurements. Bai Cici suddenly felt that her body had been seen through by him. She couldn't help but want to hug her chest. Ning Shu went to the small town to buy some beautiful clothes and handed them to the confused Bai Cici. "Thank you, senior." Ning Shu nodded elegantly. "Do a mission, do a mission, do a mission, do a mission." Ning Shu returned to the system space and heard 2333's voice. "You're awake?" A mechanical voice sounded. "This is the alarm clock he set. It will ring every once in a while." Ning Shu was speechless. Chapter 2602. 2333's voice echoed in the space. Do the mission, do the mission, do the mission. He had been rambling on, and he had never stopped. How long do you need? Half an hour. Rambling for half an hour? Ning Shu took a deep breath and ignored 2333's voice. He clicked on the screen to see how Pan Wenlon was living after she returned. Ning Shu quickly swiped the screen and went through everything that had happened. Pan Wenlon seemed to have started a business. It was a business of transporting goods to another place and earning the difference in price. Hero Hua married Xiao Chui. The couple had a child and the two of them had another child. A happy family of 4. As for Pan Wenlon, she didn't seem to have found someone to entrust her life to. Pan Wenlon didn't seem to care, but Squire Pan was anxious. He wanted to find someone to take good care of Pan Wenlon before he left. Could it be that she was hurt and didn't want to get married? Lu Hao was a scammer. She was already dead and he still didn't let her rest. Pan Wenlon felt that her current situation was very good. She had some money in her heart. Anyway, she had some martial arts, so it was good to run around. After she got married, she would be locked up at home and couldn't go out. Otherwise, she would be raped. Even if she wanted someone to take care of her, there were many maids at home. Even if she wanted to find someone, she wouldn't find someone who was pedantic. She would find someone who could support her and walk the world with her. Ning Shu turned off the screen. Although Pan Wenlon was alone, her mental state was much better than when she was in Lu Hao's backyard. As long as people had things to do and goals to move towards, they would be full of motivation. They wouldn't feel empty, lonely, cold, and sad. Do the mission, do the mission, do the mission. Ning Shu covered his ears. Even if 2333 was dormant, it couldn't get rid of the fear of being controlled by him. Ning Shu didn't feel good. He immediately said, do the mission. Just pick a simple one. Ning Shu was teleported into another body. Before he could react, he suddenly felt pain on his body. It was as if he was scratched by something. Damn, this little fat girl is actually standing there and letting the monster scratch her. Is she stupid? Come here quickly. Ning Shu opened his eyes and found himself in a virtual illusion. However, everything around him was very realistic. There was a huge black spider in front of him. Even the cilia on the legs of the black spider could be seen clearly, and there was also a stench. The spider spat out a ball of white light. Ning Shu hurriedly dodged, but his body didn't seem to be very agile. He was almost hit by the ball of light, but he tripped and fell to the ground. Ha, this little fat girl is really interesting. You don't have to be so courteous. The surrounding people all laughed, which made Ning Shu frown. Because when one fell, it was obvious that one would feel pain. Get up. A girl helped Ning Shu up. Ning Shu stood up and saw that everyone was staring at the game ID above their heads. Something like, Song Mountain has a well named Kong. Long hair to the waist is Sadako. Could it be in the game? It must be a holographic online game. The girl who helped Ning Shu up had 2 words above her head, return. Concise and inexplicably domineering. Ning Shu decided to quit the game first and directly clicked the exit button on the panel in front of him. The process of exiting the game was a bit uncomfortable. Ning Shu opened his eyes in the game pod and took off the game helmet on his head. His head was dizzy. How long have I been playing this game? Ning Shu simply lay down and closed his eyes for a while. He felt for the snacks next to him and took them out to eat. Then he accepted the plot. Holographic Online Game was a new game mode launched by the game company, but the cost of the game pod was a bit high. It wasn't something that ordinary people could afford. Such a high price was used to play a game. The client was called Tao Jing. Her family was a bit rich. She had 3 older brothers. Her parents finally had a daughter, so it was inevitable that they spoiled her a bit. But the client didn't have any major problems. She just liked to eat snacks, and all kinds of delicious food. Sometimes, for a bit of delicious food, she would take a car to a distant place. She was a foodie. Therefore, his body shape was squarish and a little fat. She used all her pocket money to buy a game pod and play a Xianxia Legend game. She was immersed in the game and could feel the pain. It was very real. The client met her Mr. Right in the game, Yan Xingzhou. He was tall and handsome. Later, they got married. Yan Xingzhou didn't mind that the client was chubby. After they got married, his favorite thing to do was to take her to eat a lot of delicious food. Yan Xingzhou probably enjoyed the process of feeding her. It was very blissful. But this was a matter of the previous life. Because in this life, someone intercepted her. And the client didn't know why, but she became the target of ridicule in the game. No matter what she did, people would criticize her. Some people said that she relied on her family's money and was fat. She threw money at her male idol in hopes that he would like her. Anyway, she was just a clown. And her fatness had become the focus of other people's criticism. The client was more generous. The pocket money her parents gave her had no other use except for food, so she was very generous. In the previous life, she made some good friends because of this. But in this life, she was sometimes ridiculed when she gave a little thing. She was almost catching up to the pace of the entire internet. The game name was Return. The girl whose real name was Lian Shui was reborn. She was deeply shocked when she saw Yan Xingzhou and Tao Jing. These two were very different in appearance. Why would a handsome guy like this girl? Was it because Tao Jing was more proactive? She also heard that she took the initiative to buy all kinds of equipment for Yan Xingzhou in the game. She felt that Yan Xingzhou was a soft rice guy. She despised him in her heart and looked at Tao Jing with some pity. This was the only part of this girl that was slightly charming. She loved to eat so much. Her body was full of fat. Only a little money could attract people. But in the game, she unintentionally heard people say that Yan Xingzhou's father owned a company. In the future, Yan Xingzhou would inherit his father's world. Lian Shui was stunned. Yan Xingzhou's taste was really unique. He actually liked that kind of girl. Chubby, how was she good-looking? Was it because Tao Jing was very proactive in the beginning? Was that why she could get a handsome guy, and the handsome and rich Yan Xingzhou? Lian Shui had a good impression of Yan Xingzhou. When a person could easily get something better, but he chose something inferior. He didn't care about people's appearance at all. Yan Xingzhou's image in Lian Shui's heart was infinitely raised. Until Yan Xingzhou and Tao Jing got married. Lian Shui was disappointed. Chapter 2603. She really lost a good man because she didn't take the initiative. Yan Xingzhou wasn't someone who looked at a person's appearance and family background. If only she took the initiative. Lian Shui sank into endless vexation. Perhaps it was because of this regret that Lian Shui was reborn. Moreover, before the release of the holographic online game, Lian Shui's family situation wasn't very good. Although they didn't have to worry about food and clothing, they definitely wouldn't spend tens of thousands to buy a gaming helmet and gaming pod. In her previous life, she worked several jobs just to buy this. Every day, she wanted to quickly get enough money. When the popularity of the gaming pod gradually decreased, the price wasn't that expensive. But when Lian Shui entered the game, Yan Xingzhou and Tao Jing had already married in the game. There was no chance at all. Lian Shui found that after being reborn for a few years, she still didn't find a chance to get rich. If she waited to earn money from the beginning, she would also miss it. After being reborn, Lian Shui wanted to quickly get in touch with Yan Xingzhou. Therefore, she stayed in the game company and wanted to get a test version of the gaming pod. Of course, she also gave some suggestions, such as if there were some bugs. Of course, the condition was to give her a test version of the gaming pod. Lian Shui knew that she didn't have much money, so she planned to use her skills to conquer him and become a gaming goddess. She also live-streamed the entire game. A live stream of a holographic online game would definitely make a lot of money. When the game started, everyone was still in the exploration stage. But Lian Shui was already quite familiar with the game. She knew the weaknesses of the monsters and how to fight them. At this time, the game guides weren't out yet. Lian Shui wrote some game guides and made a lot of money. Sure enough, you have to take the initiative to eat meat. After that, Lian Shui met Yan Xingzhou and his group of bad friends. They established a gang. Lian Shui was also an elder in the gang. Compared to her previous life where she was a nobody, this life was much better. In this life, Lian Shui was a famous gaming goddess in the entire server. There were many people who watched her game guides and live streams. Tao Jing saw that her brother had a gaming pod and played it. She felt that it was very interesting. She fought with her brother for the gaming pod every day. Tao Jing's brother couldn't take it anymore because his sister's skills were terrible. Tao Jing had no choice. She took out all her pocket money and acted spoiled with her mother. She successfully got the money. After entering the game, he used the game name I'm Easy to Feed. Then, just like before, he mixed into the gang. But now, Yan Xingzhou and Lian Shui were already recognized as a pair. Although they weren't together, they were considered the most compatible pair. As for the client, he was confused and thought that Yan Xingzhou, this god, was really fucking handsome. He went over to strike up a conversation, but in the end, he was ridiculed by Yan Xingzhou's bad friends. Client? What's wrong with her? However, she still managed to sneak into the godly team. Every time she broadcasted, she would make a fool of herself. The client's skills weren't very good, and he was chubby. Holographic online games tested one's sensitivity and brain speed. The client's situation was definitely not good. A goddess, a newbie, a beauty, and a fat girl were all gathered together. It was simply a disaster. Every time she went out, she would be at the bottom of the list and be used as a foil. However, with Yan Xingzhou in the team, the client would follow along. In any case, the client was a shameless mistress. She was the one who interfered and ruined the love between the Prince Charming and the goddess. Client? As far as she knew, these two people weren't husband and wife. It was said that they weren't together in real life either. How did she become a shameless mistress? The client was a girl who didn't have any other pursuits other than eating. Luckily, her family had some money for her to eat. She hadn't hurt anyone and was a harmless girl. However, in the game, she was already being ridiculed to the point of doubting her life. How was she scheming and shameless? Who said that bad skills couldn't play games? Moreover, every time she was invited, if she didn't see Yan Xingzhou in the team, she wouldn't have gone. The holographic online game's scenery was very beautiful. If it wasn't for the fact that she couldn't eat snacks, the client would have taken some snacks and sat down to eat them. She wouldn't be laughed at by others. There were all kinds of nicknames. Clown, little fat girl. Anyone could come and mock him. Client? Why was there such a thing happening even when playing a game? The client didn't understand, but Ning Shu understood quite well. Love was also a battlefield. The client who stumbled around definitely couldn't win against Lian Shui, who had armor, equipment, and a few sets of battle tactics. If Ning Shu was Yan Xingzhou, he wouldn't consider letting this joke become his girlfriend. Although it was a virtual game, there were only so many people who played games. Sometimes, they would have to gather and talk about things in the game. In short, the client suffered a crushing defeat. She was called a damn fatty in the game and even scolded for being cheap and not knowing her own place. All kinds of ridicule and condemnation made Tao Jing feel that she must have betrayed the country and committed a heinous crime. They treated her as a joke and even made her into an emoji. Who did she offend? Tao Jing couldn't figure it out. She couldn't even eat her favorite snacks. She was depressed. Occasionally, she would go online and smile when she saw her. Even her normal life was affected. She didn't expect playing a game to be so dangerous. The client felt very wronged. Her wish was to correct her image, but she couldn't do anything about it. Ning Shu munched on potato chips. His mouth was dry and he got up to drink some water. When he got out of the gaming cabin, he met Sangu, who also came out to drink water. Sangu and Tao Jing were twins. It was a pity that Sangu was slim and handsome while Tao Jing was a little chubby. When they stood together, it was impossible to tell that they were twins. Tao Jing, if you keep eating like this, you'll turn into a pig. You're so embarrassing in the game. Sangu said in a bad mood. The guys in the game often used this sister of his to tease him. Don't even think about chasing Yan Xingzhou. Look at yourself. You have no chance of winning if you want to compete with him. Ning Shu picked up the cup and poured some water. He slammed the cup on the table to quench his thirst. What does it have to do with you that I'm fat? Haven't you heard that a good-looking body is the same, but an interesting soul weighs more than 200 pounds? Are you my brother? Why are you helping an outsider to mock your sister? I'm going to tell your mother that you bullied me. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. You have to speak up for me. An outsider might even call you a man. If you despise me like this, how can you talk about family? Sang-gu looked angry. I don't let you play games for your own good. Don't you see how bad you are now? You overestimate yourself. Chapter 2604. Every time he saw his sister being embarrassed, he felt his face burn. Ning Shu crossed his arms and looked at him. I know you have a crush on Gui Lai and spend a lot of money on her every livestream. You're afraid that she'll ignore you if she finds out that I'm your sister, right? The holographic online game was very realistic. Not only was the pain realistic, but the images were also realistic. The lowest similarity was 80% and the highest was 100%. Lian Shui's temperament had changed a lot since she was reborn. She was confident and had money. She would definitely look good if she did a beauty treatment. She was a goddess that many men liked in the game. Not many people would be willing to buy a gaming pod just to play games. Of course, there was no lack of gaming nerds and professional gamers. Gui Lai's skills were definitely very good. Brother 3 looked unhappy. Didn't you spend money to buy equipment for Yan Xingzhou? You were even rejected. You're even more embarrassing. Why would I buy equipment for her? I put it on myself. Ning Shu argued with Brother 3. If you think I'm embarrassing, I'll always be by your side in the game. Brother 3. You're not ashamed, you're proud. Not only did she embarrass herself, but she also embarrassed him. But he still said, don't go out with the guru team to fight bosses in the future. Do you know that you're being live-streamed? You're embarrassing. She was surrounded by guru players, but a small fry appeared. The comparison was terrible. She didn't know why she could fight bosses with the guru team. There was no lack of people fanning the flames. After all, not everyone could fight bosses with the guru team. She was just a little fat girl with terrible skills and a lack of reflexes. She was like a rat that spoiled a pot of good soup in the team of the great gods. Ning Shu, what can I do if she invites me every time? But I helped her gain a lot of popularity during Gui Lai's livestream. Otherwise, why would she invite me every time? Brother 3. Are you stupid? That's a joke. Don't go in the future. If you're bad, just practice. I'm making money in the game. You're a pay-to-win player, but you're so bad at it. Ning Shu said indifferently, Mom gives me money. I don't need to work hard to earn money. Brother 3. In any case, his 3 sons were no longer his biological sons. Only this damn fatty was his biological son. Ning Shu really felt mentally exhausted. It was probably because he had played the game for too long and was mentally draining. She went back to her room to sleep for a while. He was circulating the peerless martial arts in his body, but there wasn't much spiritual energy, so it didn't matter if he circulated it. Ning Shu fell asleep the moment his head hit the pillow. Perhaps it was because he was fat, but he kept snoring in his sleep. There were a few times when he almost couldn't breathe properly and didn't wake up. After a nap, his mind was still not clear. He pinched the meat on his stomach and felt a little depressed. It was one thing to be fat and not look good, but more importantly, it was unhealthy. Ning Shu's hand reflexively touched the snacks by the bedside and felt a lot of packaging. His stomach was growling. He was hungry. He was used to eating whenever and wherever he wanted. Now, he really couldn't get used to not eating. His body's inertia was also quite scary. Ning Shu felt that he had to endure it. Now that his stomach was full, if he continued to eat, he would not be able to move. Ning Shu woke up to drink water. When he was hungry, he drank water and ate fruits. Anyway, he couldn't eat junk food anymore. His 3 brothers were not bad looking, so the client's appearance was probably not bad either. This body probably had potential. He should try to lose weight. Not only to not be called a damn fatty, but also for his health. Probably because his mouth couldn't stop, Ning Shu felt that his mouth was very itchy and wanted to find something to grind his teeth. Drinking water didn't work. He took an apple and cut it into small pieces and slowly grinded his teeth. This would make his brain feel full. There was a gym at home. It was his 3 brothers' territory. He decided to go and exercise. The client probably had some merit on him. He ate every day and didn't have to worry about his livelihood. His parents doted on him like a pearl. Sometimes they were all humans, but it was so unfair. Actually, Lian Shue's rebirth could be counted as a capital encouragement, but she was very hostile towards the client. After being reborn, the first thing to do was to snatch a man. If these two people were at peace, it would be fine. But they kept stepping on the client, making the client a joke. Maybe the client was a little stupid, but this wasn't a reason for Lian Shui to step on him. The client also didn't hurt her, whether in this life or the previous life. Ning Shu ground his teeth. In his mind, he couldn't help but think of beef with his hands, potato chips, pickled peppers, chicken feet. All kinds of snacks made Ning Shu salivate. His strong stomach was squirming and protesting. He kept eating and eating until his stomach was full. So, he couldn't spoil anything. Once he couldn't satisfy him, he would make a fuss. Ning Shu kept drinking water. His stomach was rumbling as he walked. After dinner, the family of 6 sat at the table. Ning Shu only drank soup and didn't eat greasy food. Mother Tao saw that her daughter wasn't eating, so she immediately put a piece of smoked beef into Ning Shu's bowl. Eat. I'm on a diet. I'll eat lighter food, Ning Shu said. Instantly, everyone at the table stared at Ning Shu in disbelief. Why are you on a diet? She was basically the biggest eater in the family. Even the men didn't have as big an appetite as her. Suddenly wanting to lose weight was like red rain falling from the sky. Jingjing, did you suffer? Did someone bully you? Mother Tao immediately asked. Ning Shu pointed at third brother. She called me a damn fatty. Everyone laughs at me in the game. Mother Tao looked at her third son. Third brother glared at Ning Shu and explained, I didn't call her a damn fatty. Besides, I'm already fat. Why can't people talk about it? Ning Shu, I became fat with my own ability. Who gave her the right to call me fat? Third brother, I'm not eating anymore. Ning Shu felt that this body had a lot of phlegm. The phlegm wasn't from the mouth, but from fat. For the sake of health, she couldn't be so fat. She didn't think so now, but when she was older, she would definitely suffer. Most importantly, she would fall into a state of inferiority and lack of confidence, which would lead to depression. Later on, Tao Jing became depressed. When she saw the flesh on her body, she even cut it with a knife. She was hospitalized several times because of this. The happy foodie became depressed. She couldn't even save her food. Don't listen to them. What's the point of not eating when you have food? It's not like you're so poor that you don't have food to eat. People are just so pretentious. When you don't have food to eat, you'll even eat dirt. When you have food to eat, you're afraid of getting fat. Mother Tao comforted Ning Shu. She put a piece of braised pork shoulder into Ning Shu's bowl. It was stewed until it was soft and tender. It trembled in the bowl. So oily. She really wanted to eat it. Her stomach was growling. Mom, you're right. But I still want to lose weight. Ning Shu rejected the braised pork shoulder and the braised beef and drank the soup. Chapter 2605. It wasn't easy for the food to be on the table, but she rejected it. How sad would the food be? It was all because she was too hungry. Ning Shu felt that she had never felt such an urgent need for food. Her soul was in a good state, so she wouldn't get fat no matter how much she ate. The whole family didn't believe that Ning Shu only drank soup and ate light food. Ning Shu drank a few bowls of soup and left the table. Mrs. Tao asked her third son, Is Jingjing in love? Who would like her unless they're blind? Brother San said directly. How can you talk about your sister like that? Mrs. Tang hit him with her chopsticks. Brother San wanted to say that she was a toad who wanted to eat swan meat and liked a handsome guy in the game, but he didn't say it. It wouldn't be good if his mother used his game capsule and insisted on entering the game to see what the man looked like. She's probably always being told that she's fat and wants to lose weight. She'll go crazy and won't be able to persevere, Brother San said directly. Ning Shu went downstairs to the park for a walk. Her stomach was rumbling with soup and water. She didn't know if the fiery sun energy could burn fat. Ning Shu planned to absorb the fiery sun energy. It was more abundant than spirit energy. She absorbed some fiery sun energy and circulated it in her body to burn her fat. It was useless. It was useless. It seemed that she really had to go through hellish training in hell to lose weight. She also had to strictly control her diet. If she ate less, her stomach would gradually shrink. Ning Shu walked slowly in the park. After going to the bathroom a few times, she was hungry again. Ning Shu jogged and panted in exhaustion. Even a fight wasn't this tiring. The meat was growing. It would be very difficult to get rid of it. She walked around the park. There were many skewers, corn, roasted sweet potatoes. The smell of nightlife food floated in the air. Her stomach growled. Ning Shu was speechless. She was so desperate. She really wanted to eat. Ning Shu wandered around the barbecue stall for a long time. Finally, she made up her mind and swallowed her saliva, feeling wronged, and ran home. She peeled an apple and slowly ground her teeth. With something in her mouth, she wouldn't feel hungry. It was really hard to fight against one's instincts. Hunger, drinking water, and sleeping were all irresistible. She was hungry. She wanted to eat. The whole family looked at Ning Shu in silence. They felt that she wouldn't be able to hold on for long and would soon revert to her old ways. Ning Shu went to the gym upstairs and started running. Even from downstairs, he could hear the movements upstairs. "I wonder what triggered our daughter," Father Tao said worriedly. What was wrong with his daughter? She had never thought of losing weight in the past. She would eat, drink, and sleep as she should. Life was carefree, but now that his daughter had grown up, she had her troubles. A woman dresses up for her sweetheart. All sorts of thoughts flashed through Father Tao's mind. In the end, he felt that his daughter had someone she liked. Ning Shu couldn't take it anymore after running for 10 minutes. He collapsed on the ground and got up. However, after some exercise, he slept much more comfortably at night. He was probably too tired. For a few days, Ning Shu didn't go online to play games. Every day, he thought about how to lose weight. He was so hungry that he felt dizzy. It was very uncomfortable. He wanted to use spiritual energy to adjust his body's condition, but there was no spiritual energy in the modern world. Even holographic online games had been made. The development of technology had made the spiritual energy of heaven and earth disappear. Therefore, he had to rely on his own perseverance to lose weight. Ning Shu felt that after this experience, she wouldn't dare to eat too much in restaurants in the future. It was traumatizing. A few days later, Ning Shu put on the gaming helmet and entered the game. As soon as he entered, he found that many people were sending messages to him. Kindergarten gang boss. Yo, you don't have the face to come to the game. 800 idiots running north slope. Without someone to be a joke, the game is boring. Medicine, 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 check it out. Hurry up and contribute a new emoji pack. There were many such messages. They all had the same indifferent tone. Ning Shu replied to them one by one. The game is opened by your family. Why do you care if I have the face to come or not? The game is boring. Let someone else play you. A notification popped up in front of Ning Shu. It was a message from Tsang Mountain has a well named empty. Tsang Mountain has a well named empty was Yen Xingzhou's best friend. It was clearly a godly team, but he had to find a noob like her. It was nothing more than a joke. This was the legendary saying of building one's happiness on other people's pain and inadequacy. How could this give him a sense of superiority? Ning Shu clicked accept. Instantly, the system message spread everywhere. I'm easy to feed. I accept Song Mountain has a well-named empties team request. Brother San. Fuck, his sister was probably an idiot. She was going to be a joke. Brother San said to his team members, I have something to do. I'm not going to fight this monster. His team members immediately shouted, Don't, we're almost done. You scammer, what's so important? My dumb sister has been scammed again. I have to go over and take care of her. Brother San felt that he was really too noble. He had spent so much effort on this scammer. All right then, we'll go with you. The other team members had nothing to say. They could only follow along. Honestly, they really wanted to see this famous, I'm easy to feed, with their own eyes. Return was as popular as this, I'm easy to feed, puss. However, this kind of popularity was created by darkness. Ning Shu followed the other party's instructions to the place where the monsters were to be killed. The surroundings were gloomy. The monsters here were especially strong. First, they would kill a wave of small monsters, then a big wave, and then the final boss. This level of monster killing was not something a small fry like her could participate in. She would be killed in the first wave. There were a total of 6 people in the team. Return was a female player who stood out. Yan Xingzhou and a few other godly players were in the team. Song Mountain has a well-named empty, little fat girl. I thought you didn't play games anymore. Ning Shu chuckled. If I didn't come, wouldn't you be disappointed? Moreover, without a small fry like me holding you back, even if you succeeded in killing the monsters, it wouldn't be a big deal. If you can win with a noob like me, then your godly reputation will shine brightly. It was normal for a godly player to win. However, if you won with a burden, then the feeling was different. The difficulty increased by a few notches. Heaven has a well-named empty. I haven't seen you for a few days and you've become sharper. Haven't you always wanted to chase after Xingzhou? I'm giving you a chance. Yan Xingzhou kicked him. Stop talking nonsense. Ning Shu looked at the tall and elegant Return and said directly, remember to give me some money. Return was a little speechless. Asking her for money? Was there a mistake? Did she owe him money? Ning Shu said directly, without me as a foil, your gaming live streams aren't that popular recently. It's tiring for me to support you. Chapter 2606. Only when there was a right match could there be a competition. With Tao Jing, this scum, around, even girls with average skills could be compared to her. Not to mention setting off Gray Lai. Your gaming livestream earns so much money. You should at least give me a share of the money. You drag me along every time to set off a group of gods. You should at least give me some money, Ning Shu said shamelessly. Every time he dragged her along and asked for money, he definitely wouldn't call her over anytime and anywhere. If she gave him money, he wouldn't admit that she was Gui Lai's supporting character. One was red, one was black, working together to make money. Gui Lai felt that this guy was ridiculous. Why did he have to ask her for money? She had nothing to do with this guy. Every time she wanted to chase after Yan Xingzhou, she was stupid and became a joke. He even said it as if he was pretending to be like this. These team members called this guy over just to see a joke. She ran over herself. Gui Lai, what money do I owe you? This guy must have a problem with his brain. She didn't know how she chased after Yan Xingzhou in her previous life. Beep 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 came to find trouble with her. She was still live streaming. Every time she killed monsters, she would live stream. But one less live stream meant a lot less money. Fighting with this kind of clown seemed to be degrading. Gui Lai was still thinking about how to stop these two people from being together. She took the initiative to confess to Yan Xingzhou, but Yan Xingzhou didn't answer. He said that he didn't have the intention to date for the time being. Gui Lai was rejected. She was a little stunned. She just thought that it was a habit from her previous life. It wasn't easy to change. So she took a step back and said that they were husband and wife for the time being. If Gui Lai needed any materials, only husband and wife challenges could get the prize. Gui Lai found Yan Xingzhou and became husband and wife. But after the mission was completed, Gui Lai took the initiative to dissolve the relationship. Yan Xingzhou didn't have any objections. Gradually, the two of them did a couple of husband and wife challenges. They left the impression that they were a couple in front of everyone. But then they dissolved the relationship. Back and forth, tossing and turning. So when the client appeared, he was immediately attacked. Even if these two weren't husband and wife, they were still a couple. Why did you get involved? Ning Shu felt quite speechless. Can't you guys be a couple? Instead, it made the client become a third party. Back and forth, he didn't find it troublesome. It was really intoxicating. Ning Shu said directly, every time you look for me, don't you want me to make a fool of myself? Then we can split the money. You don't keep your word. Everyone was speechless. You're probably dreaming. Everyone present was speechless. What kind of person agreed to collect the money together and then split the money? Gui Lai's face was red with anger. What kind of situation was this? It was as if they had colluded. Was there a need to collude? That guy was so stupid. Gui Lai, think before you speak. Why was Tao Jing acting so weird today? Was there really nothing wrong with her? Tao Jing. Third brother appeared with a group of people. He looked at Ning Shu and asked, "Are you okay? What could happen to me?" Although the environment was realistic and the pain was realistic, there was no danger to his life. Third brother said to Tsang Mountain Yujing Wei Kong, "I'm a girl who doesn't know anything. She's just here to play the game. Don't bring her along when you're farming." Tsang Mountain Yujing Wei Kong said carelessly, "She can be considered weak, but she died that time. I've protected her well every time. Brother, don't worry." Third brother sneered. He was treating his sister as a joke. Although he didn't like this damn fatty, they had crawled out of the same stomach. They had stayed together in the same stomach. These things couldn't be erased. "Get over here. What are you doing running around every day? Big brother will take you to level up." Third brother waved at Ning Shu. Ning Shu obediently walked over and called out, "Big brother." Tsang Mountain Yujing Wei Kong said, "You called her away. We're one less person here." "One less person shouldn't matter to a godly team like yours. Don't tell me he's dead. You don't know how good my sister is. Without her dragging us down, you'll be able to farm monsters easily." Third brother didn't understand why the other side was so insistent on adding that damn fatty. Was it to show that the godly team was strong? Forget it, let's farm monsters first. The horse monsters are coming out. Yan Xingzhou came out to smooth things over. Third elder brother gave Yan Xingzhou some face and prepared to leave with his team. Despair Canyon was a dungeon that their team couldn't clear. He wasn't weak, but the godly team was still a bit lacking. Roar, roar, roar. The ground shook. Small monsters that looked like pangolins crawled out of the ground and charged towards them. Instead, there were 3 times the number of normal monsters. Third brother immediately reacted, "Fuck, they're counting us all." The dungeon had thought that their team was also a dungeon player, so the number of monsters increased to a terrifying level. There were small monsters all over the mountain. After the small monsters were killed, there would be a big wave. Third brother was in a dilemma. Should he fight or not? If he didn't, it would be a bit unkind. If he fought, his strength would be a bit lacking. Ning Shu said, "Third brother, hurry up and leave." Third brother rolled his eyes. "I'm leaving. Who knows what will happen tomorrow?" So he still had to kill. Wasn't loyalty the most important thing in games? If he ran away like this, his character would be bad in the future. At worst, he would die once. Third brother braced himself. Ning Shu stood to the side and prepared to watch the godly team fight. She couldn't beat them anyway. She could beat them, but she didn't want to move. Because she had been on a diet recently, Ning Shu, who ate grass every day, was very unhappy. Who the fuck wanted to fight with them? She didn't even have a share of the equipment that dropped, so she didn't have to worry. Ning Shu used the equipment to wrap herself up. It had the effect of a barrier. It could prevent the monsters from attacking. Of course, this equipment was bought with money. There was a lot of equipment in the user's backpack. Ning Shu opened her backpack and looked at the equipment inside. How much money did this equipment cost? Then she watched as everyone painstakingly killed the monsters. There were monsters all over the mountain. Didn't the godly team want to increase the difficulty? Wasn't this difficulty great? It increased by 3 times in one go. It was awesome. The godly team's equipment was awesome. Their moves and equipment were simply dazzling. It could blind people's eyes. But the godly team's expression wasn't too good, especially when they returned. This time they might fail. Their team had never failed to kill monsters. If they failed in the Valley of Despair, their winning streak would be gone. This team had a godlike status in the game, so everyone naturally had high expectations for this team. If they failed, their previous glory would be gone. /BK Chapter 2607. Gui Lai gritted her teeth. Easy Living and her brother were really troublemakers. She regretted letting this guy join the god team. It was just like what Easy Living said. It was a joke to have such a person in the team, but it also added some popularity to her live broadcast. Most of her emojis were screenshots from the live broadcast by some busybodies. She acquiesced to this action. Tao Jing was already in such a sorry state. If Yan Xingzhou still chose her, Gui Lai felt that her rebirth was meaningless. Even if she was her goddess, the strongest goddess in the game, why was Yan Xingzhou still indifferent to her? At a game party in her previous life, she saw Yan Xingzhou peeling prawns for Tao Jing and watching her eat with a smile. Why was he so cold to her? Gui Lai didn't dare to be distracted. Although these were all small monsters, it was live broadcast time. If a distraction caused any impact, it would be a blow to her reputation. It was directly related to money. The worst thing about holographic games was that once the live broadcast started, it couldn't be turned off within the set time. Gui Lai really wanted to turn off the live broadcast. It wasn't that no one did live broadcast, but the live broadcast was terrible. Gui Lai's live broadcast was the most perfect. Her teammates were awesome, her skills were awesome, and her equipment was gorgeous. It was simply enjoyable. Now only Gui Lai's live broadcast was outstanding. The income was amazing. Damn fatty, I've been tricked by you. Third brother's life was hanging by a thread as he shouted to Ning Shu. When the last drop of blood was gone, he was forced to quit the game. When the character died, they would quit the game. And using the game helmet was very tiring. They couldn't play for too long, so they would be forced to quit the game after 3 hours. To avoid the situation of being unconscious, Ning Shu took out his handkerchief and waved at his brother. Goodbye, my brother. Third brother. Damn you, who did he die for? The team that third brother brought over was killed. The rest was the god team. Yan Xingzhou was wearing dazzling equipment and his reaction was very agile. Holographic games were operated by consciousness. To be able to become a god, it meant that he was a very smart person in real life. It seemed that Yan Xingzhou and a group of bad friends were all winners in life. Ning Shu leisurely watched everyone kill monsters. The others were busy to death. The players who were watching the live stream were speechless. The fat chick was even more ridiculous now. In the past, she would at least help. Although she was a little clumsy, she was equipped with a lot of equipment. It would be difficult for her to die in a short period of time. Furthermore, he had a team of gods protecting him, so he definitely wouldn't die. Now, he was actually watching from the side, therefore all kinds of bullet screen comments were enough to blacken Ning Shu. Why would the male gods and goddesses find such a person to team up with? It was simply dragging down the quality and fighting strength of the entire team. They requested to join the team, saying that no matter what, the fatty had more combat power. Fatty didn't even have the slightest spirit of unity and friendship. He just watched everyone fight. Therefore, when someone wants to slander you, no matter what you do, you will be slandered. In the past, when she was asked to help kill enemies, she would be criticized on a technical level, saying that her reaction was slow, her posture was ugly, and she was fat. Now that she wasn't moving, they were saying that she didn't have the spirit of unity and love. Ning Shu didn't care what others said. Just the waves of monsters alone would be enough for them to fight for a while. It was impossible to clear this dungeon in a short period of time. To clear a dungeon, not only did they have to clear the monsters, they also had to race against time to break the record. Using the shortest amount of time to beautifully clear the dungeon was something that every team had to do. Moreover, the shorter the time, the better the equipment that would be dropped. Ning Shu looked at the time. There was already quite a bit of time, but the last wave of monsters hadn't been cleared yet. The big monsters hadn't appeared yet. Moreover, the big monsters this time were definitely strong because the dungeon counted 2 teams. Ning Shu stretched his arms and rested enough to fight BSS. This time, no matter what, he had to get some equipment. He had to fight for the last hit on BSS. This way, he would definitely have a share of the equipment that would be dropped. He definitely had to fight for the best equipment that would be dropped. Ning Shu flipped through all kinds of game guides to familiarize himself with the game. Many of the game guides on the forums were written by Return Home. Ning Shu looked for a while and felt that it was better to walk through the game from the beginner's village than to look at these guides. The client's mind wasn't in the game at all. She wasn't here to play the game. She was completely attracted by the realistic graphics. In addition, she met Yan Xingzhou. There was one more reason to play the game. However, there weren't many people like the client who played the game without any desires. Everyone was fighting for rankings and killing monsters. The weak could only be mocked. Roar, roar, roar. The earth trembled violently, and a huge mountain cracked open, and a huge BSS drilled out from within. It was a larger version of a pangolin. Its entire body was pitch black and terrifying. The players were like ants in front of the pangolin. Looking up at the pangolin was like looking at a building. Fuck, so big. This is a top-tier BSS, right? How do we fight this? Looks like Team Great God won't be able to clear the dungeon in the shortest time. I'm so worried about Goddess Return. All kinds of messages flooded the live broadcast. This dungeon had been cleared before, but the big BSS pangolin wasn't this big. The dungeon would be matched according to the team's strength. The stronger the team, the stronger the team. Originally, Team Great God's strength was awesome. They even had Brother Sand's team. Therefore, the game system matched such a huge monster. It was like a big monster in a sci-fi movie. It was unreal. Seeing the big BSS, Return's face turned green. It was so big. It would take too long to kill this monster. Looking at the health bar, it made people feel even more hopeless. She did the live broadcast to let people see a perfect kill. It was easy. If she was like a normal player, who would watch the live broadcast? Everyone in the team communicated with their eyes. Finally, Yan Xingzhou said, "Kill it. Although it will take a long time, the reward may be 3 times. The harder it was, the better the reward." Return really wanted to turn around and leave. However, it was a live broadcast. If she left, it would be very bad. It was better to kill the monster than to give up. The few of them besieged the giant pangolin. Dazzling moves were made, and the few great gods took out their rare trump card divine weapons. It made the people watching the live broadcast scream. Some artifacts couldn't be bought with money. One could only fight step by step to gather enough materials to refine them. If such an artifact was calculated according to the money in real life, it would cost $10,000. These rich great gods. Ning Shu looked at these dazzling artifacts. Anyway, the artifacts in the game were all very flashy. How could they be so dazzling and eye-catching? Especially when he unleashed his moves, he could blind people's eyes. Inexplicably, he felt like he was fucking awesome. /BK. Chapter 2608. But this boss's strength was beyond everyone's expectations. It was so strong. All kinds of artifacts and spells did little damage to the pangolin, and its HP decreased very slowly. It's simply 6666. The great god is different. The monsters are all so strong. I don't think we can win. This monster's skin is so thick. It feels like it's a lot stronger in all aspects. Its strength, defense, and attack were more than twice as strong as normal monsters. Therefore, the Great God team really had a hard time. The pangolin's claws and teeth were very sharp. The light from its attack could penetrate a person's body. This battle was very difficult. Even the Great God's HP bar was almost empty. Some took out blood tonics and drank them to stay alive. Ning Shu rummaged through her backpack and fully armed herself. She held a very expensive sword in her hand. It was said that it was an artifact that could split into dozens of swords at the same time. At first, the seller was attracted by the bright gem of the sword. She bought it without thinking and planned to give it to Yan Xingzhou. But Yan Xingzhou didn't accept it and returned it to her almost without thinking. Ning Shu wore a flashy armor and ran over with a gorgeous sword in her hand. She asked, "Do you need my help?" But everyone was busy fighting monsters and didn't pay attention to Ning Shu. "Do you need my help?" "You have to tell me," Ning Shu said again. Everyone. They had never seen such a shameless person. How could she be so shameless? The Great God was busy fighting monsters. Who would want to talk to her? And with such a big monster, she would be courting death if she ran over. Was the chubby girl going to contribute an emoji again? Everyone was itching to take a screenshot of Ning Shu's expression at any time and place. To be honest, without the chubby girl dragging them down, it was boring to watch the Great God fight monsters. These people could even make jokes about people. If others were calculative, they would say unhappily that it was just a joke. You can't even make a joke. It's boring. Just a few jokes. Am I close to you? Ning Shu saw that no one was paying attention to her. It seemed that they didn't need her help. She could help with the last hit. Ong ong ong. The big monster was hurt by Yan Xingzhou's attack. It began to go berserk, and the scales on its body shot out like knives. Ning Shu hurriedly moved further away and played with the blood tonic in his hand. After a tough battle, the pangolin only had a little bit of health left. Ning Shu didn't hesitate and took out his sword. The sword split into dozens of swords and stabbed into the pangolin's body, turning it into a porcupine. Boom! The pangolin fell to the ground, raising a thick cloud of dust. Then, a dazzling array of equipment appeared. There were divine artifacts, ores, and pet eggs. Ning Shu was the first to snatch the pet eggs. He also took 2 glowing stones. Everyone was speechless. Ning Shu tucked the egg under his armpit and said to the stun gods, "Hurry up and pick it up. What are you waiting for? Don't be shy." The gods almost laughed out of anger. "Don't be shy? You're the one who's being rude." Return was speechless. The Nuwa 5-colored stone and pet eggs that she wanted had been snatched away. She had discussed with everyone that the 5-colored stone and pet eggs would belong to her. But now they had been snatched away. This made Return very unhappy. Today's live broadcast didn't go very well. Now, the equipment that dropped had been snatched away. Return took a deep breath. Ning Shu said, "The pet eggs and 5-colored stone are mine." "Oh, then why didn't you take them?" "I think the stones are pretty. Pet eggs? I want to hatch a pet egg. You know that I'm very weak. It would be good if there was a pet that could protect me," Ning Shu said directly. In the past, the client would never want these equipment. They really treated money like dirt. Ning Shu didn't care about these things, but it was good to annoy people. If she didn't want the 5-colored stone, she could give it to Sangu. It was probably some kind of forging material. Return was speechless. It was rare to see someone so thick-skinned. Others fought hard to kill the monster, but you dealt the final blow and wanted to share the good stuff. Today's failure made Return unable to hold it in. If she hadn't been reminding herself that she was live broadcasting, she probably wouldn't have been able to control herself. The others also got what they wanted. Yan Xingzhou generously took out his own item and gave it to Return. "Take it. This arm of God is what you always wanted." "I don't want it." Return didn't want Yan Xingzhou's item. Why should Tao Jing have the right to take it? But Return still accepted it. Didn't Tao Jing like Yan Xingzhou? Seeing Yan Xingzhou give her something, she probably felt bad. "Thank you." Return accepted the hand of God. It was a piece of equipment. When worn on the arm, the combat power doubled. Ning Shu didn't care about what would happen between the two of them. Perhaps the client felt that this little brother was good-looking and was interested. It wasn't to the extent of loving him to death. The feelings in the plot came step by step. There was no need to have anyone in the beginning. And Yan Xingzhou didn't like her at first. After all, the client's appearance wasn't enough to make people fall in love at first sight. Ning Shu touched the pet egg that was as big as a wash basin. It felt very real. Yan Xingzhou looked at Ning Shu touching the egg and said, "Do you want to sell this egg? I'll buy it." Ning Shu chuckled, revealing 2 small canine teeth. "How much are you willing to pay?" "Name a price," Yan Xingzhou said directly. It seemed like he didn't care much about money. Ning Shu said directly, "If you're buying it for Return, then I won't sell it. If you want it, then I'll sell it." "You know how badly I've been defamed. I'm not willing to sell it to her." "Yan Xingzhou, is it really good for you to be so honest?" Return almost exploded in anger. "You're the one who stole the item, okay? How dare you boast so shamelessly? Are you being defamed because you're stupid? Are you blaming others for your stupidity?" She couldn't wait to quit the game and vent. Only then would she be able to ease her explosive mood. Since her rebirth, Return felt that her temperament had improved a lot. But she was still pissed off by this damn fatty. Ning Shu saw Return's face turn black. If it wasn't for the live broadcast, he probably would have exploded. She really couldn't do it. Her temperament wasn't good enough. She couldn't stand it. The client was defamed every day. Return's journey since her rebirth had been smooth sailing. She suddenly suffered a setback. She was definitely angry. There was no room for failure. It had to be perfect. It seemed like she had OCD. In fact, it was her lack of confidence. /BK. Chapter 2609. He was afraid that if he made a mistake, he would go back to being a nobody. Yan Xingzhou said, "I'll use it myself." Ning Shu generously gave the egg to him. "Sure, give me whatever you want. I don't lack money." Yan Xingzhou took the pet egg and said, 5,000. A pet egg for 5,000? It must be something good. Ning Shu snatched the egg back. "I'm not selling it." Yan Xingzhou, was it really okay to go back on your word? Ning Shu touched the egg and felt that there was a life inside. It was banging against the shell, trying to jump out. Then a fluffy little yellow chick jumped out. Ning Shu looked at the chick and stuffed it into Yan Xingzhou's arms. "Here, remember to give me 5,000. 5,000 could eat a lot of snacks." No, she was on a diet and didn't eat snacks. 5,000 could be a weight loss class. Yan Xingzhou held the little yellow chick and was a bit speechless. He heard that there was a mythical beast in the egg, but why was it a chicken? She saw that it was a chicken and decided to sell it to him. This girl was really, okay, 5,000. Yan Xingzhou was easy to talk to. Ning Shu felt that the client had good taste. At least after marrying Yan Xingzhou in his previous life, her life was very happy. Ning Shu felt that the client was a naive and sweet person. She was the kind of person who had good karma, so her life was peaceful and happy. Her family loved her and she ate well. Her husband loved her dearly. Although Yan Xingzhou was snatched away in the end, the client didn't hate him. Ning Shu's feelings towards him were also very ordinary. He didn't like or hate him. It could only be said that he and the client were fated to be together for a lifetime. After another lifetime, their fate would end. Returning felt that this Tao Jing was more than just a little annoying. She gave Yan Xingzhou the egg when she saw that it wasn't a mythical beast. Yan Xingzhou actually agreed to give him 5,000. Returning's heart was in pain. Could it be that even after being reborn, this situation still couldn't be changed? What did this Tao Jing have? What did she have? She didn't have to do anything and didn't work hard at all, but she was enjoying herself. She practiced yoga, lost weight, bought all kinds of skincare products. How could she lose to a fatty? Why was the heavens so unfair, especially unfair? Ning Shu could feel the gaze that was staring at her like an awl. She felt speechless, staring at what she didn't have and seeing what others had. What was the point of snatching a man when she had the chance to be reborn? They had already turned the situation around. What else did they want? Yan Xingzhou was probably her obsession. Life's not perfect without it. Ning Shu Yan Xingzhou said, "Remember to transfer me the money." Then he gave the 5-colored stone to third brother and logged out of the game. As soon as he exited the game, Ning Shu suddenly felt very uncomfortable in his head. He opened the door to cut some fruits. Brother San stared at Ning Shu. Ning Shu said, "Don't be angry. I gave you a multicolored stone. Remember to accept it." Forging divine stone, multicolored stone, where did you get it from? Did you use money again? No, this kind of thing can't be bought with money. Of course I got it from killing monsters. When I saw the 5-colored stone, I knew it was third brother who wanted it. Third brother was speechless. Alright, I'm not angry at all. But after logging out of the game, he could only log back in 3 hours later. You embarrassed yourself again, didn't you? Brother San couldn't wait to enter the game and see how his sister embarrassed herself. No, your sister killed the monsters very bravely. Ning Shu ate some fruit and went downstairs for a run. Dong dong dong, Brother San felt like the roof was going to collapse. Ning Shu hadn't played games for a few days. Maybe it was because he looked at himself and had a filter. Ning Shu felt like he had lost weight. He asked his parents and they all said he had lost weight. His 3 brothers' expressions were indescribable. Their parents could go against their conscience, but they would be scolded if they said anything, so they just kept quiet. Moreover, young people all lived on the internet. Every time they saw other people posting emojis of their sister, they would be angry, and heartbroken. They didn't dare to tell their parents what kind of existence their sister was on the internet. There were all kinds of pranks. It was unbearable to look at. Ning Shu felt like he still had to find a professional. He went to the gym to find a professional coach to lose weight and lose weight. Ning Shu felt that life was really hard when he ate grass every day and exercised. Losing weight went against his instincts. Storing fat was his body's instinct. Damn fatty, do you think you haven't been slandered enough? Is that why you? Brother San saw the live stream and wanted to die. He was so angry that he wanted to laugh. That last stab was really shameless. Brother San had seen all kinds of shameless players, but he didn't expect his sister to be so shameless. Ning Shu, it doesn't matter. When your sister succeeds in losing weight, all the dark history won't be dark history anymore. It's just that losing weight will be difficult. I really want to eat shredded beef and braised pork shoulder. I'm so desperate. Brother San was also a little hungry after hearing Ning Shu's words. He took out some snacks from the fridge and ate them in front of Ning Shu while licking his fingers. Ning Shu swallowed his saliva. Was he really her brother? Other people's brothers were all cis-obsessed, but hers was hard to explain. Right? There's a gaming party. Do you want to go? Brother San asked. There's also a high-end gaming party. Forget it, you shouldn't go. You'll embarrass yourself. When is it? Maybe a month later. Don't go. In the game, you're nothing compared to Return. If you stand together in real life, it'll be an epic disaster movie. Third brother had good intentions, but the words that came out of his mouth made people want to slap him. Ning Shu, of course I'm going. Why wouldn't I go? Ning Shu had been increasing his training recently. He was so tired that he fell asleep as soon as his head hit the pillow. He didn't have time to play games. She would occasionally hear third brother talk about the game. Right? Yan Xingzhou asked you. He said he sent you $5,000 and asked you to check it. Why did he give you $5,000? Ning Shu said directly, because I sold him a pet egg. Brother San, fuck, what pet egg was $5,000? He worked so hard every day and couldn't even get $5,000. Ning Shu was in the game. When he heard the notification that there was money in his account, he immediately withdrew the money and transferred it to his bank card. Ning Shu also watched Return's livestream. She was very popular. She could earn tens of thousands of yuan doing a livestream. Doing a livestream once a month was enough to eat. In the end, she added a stab and the screen was flooded with comments. Everyone didn't know how to express their complicated feelings. She was really shameless. This chubby girl was shameless before. She didn't know her place when she pestered her idol. Now, she was stealing kills. It was also because the Great God team had good self-restraint that they could tolerate her. Our poor Return was in a team with this kind of person. She would be dragged to death. /BK. Chapter 2610. Ning Shu felt that some of the players who slandered the client were doing it on purpose, some were following the trend, and some were doing it to please Return. If they didn't do it, it wouldn't be fashionable. Ning Shu watched Return's livestream. All the previous ones were pretty good and perfect, even though the client was there. The client's performance was that of a noob. Compared to this group of gods, the difference was like heaven and earth. It made Return look beautiful and skilled. However, the most recent livestream wasn't very good. Someone had stolen the kill. In the past, the last hit was almost always Return's last hit. The last hit was especially beautiful. His last hit had been stolen, and even the equipment he had dropped had been stolen. How could he accept this? Anyway, Return couldn't stand it. When Ning Shu wasn't playing the game, Return didn't do any live streams. Perhaps she was playing the game, but without a live stream, her mood was obviously affected. She couldn't stand it. The client was scolded to death every day. Fatty, mistress, ugly, and troublesome. She endured it, but this kind of stubbornness was obviously useless. The damage was done, but it couldn't be seen for a while. It accumulated over time and in the end, she became depressed. Depression was very difficult to treat. The damage to the heart was harder to heal than the damage to the body. Return was used to being admired and worshipped. The higher she stood, the more painful it would be to fall. Return was anxious to change the things in her previous life. Before she got Yan Xingzhou, she had to maintain her perfect state. Only then could she get Yan Xingzhou. As long as she didn't get Yan Xingzhou, She felt that nothing had changed in her previous life. Perhaps if she got Yenshingzhou, she wouldn't be so tense. The more people cared about other people's opinions and thoughts, the more anxious they would be. When anxious, it was easier to make mistakes. Return obviously had the mentality of suddenly becoming rich. She suddenly became a goddess, eager to show off but afraid that one day she would become the person she used to be. Ning Shu felt that Yenshingzhou was a bit interesting. Return was obviously a beautiful woman. Why didn't he get together with her? Moreover, the time Return spent to get Yenshingzhou was much longer than the client. The two had experienced a long love run. It was a long love run for several years before they got married. The client and Yenshingzhou were in a relationship for 2 years. After meeting the parents, they got married. Just thinking about it made Ning Shu feel tired. He didn't understand why she was so obsessed with Yenshingzhou. The shelf life of love was only a few years. After a long journey of love, it was already very tiring, and then it would enter the grave of love. Perhaps he didn't feel tired after coming back. Instead, he felt that his life had changed. Ning Shu didn't go online anymore. In this month, he needed to train his body. He couldn't be too hasty and had to take it slow. Suddenly becoming skinny would cause his skin to become loose. Moreover, Ning Shu wasn't willing to pay the price of harming his body. Originally, this body had contained the souls of 2 people, so there was already wear and tear. If it carried out intense weight loss exercise, it would definitely die early. He ate very little every day, only 7 or 8 meals a day. Each meal was either a small bowl of soup or a substitute meal powder. In short, he had never eaten his fill. Having a strong stomach really couldn't hurt him. His stomach was protesting every second. Jogging and doing aerobic exercises every day. In any case, he would do whatever he could to lose weight. Without spiritual energy, the world really couldn't afford to hurt them. They couldn't even slack off and lose weight. Ning Shu's persistence made everyone's jaws drop. They had thought that she was just joking. They hadn't expected that she would persist for so long. Although she was still chubby, she seemed to have slimmed down a bit. At least her facial features had been washed away by sweat. They were no longer chubby. Mother Tao couldn't help but ask if her daughter had been stimulated by something. She hoped that her daughter wouldn't hurt her body. Ning Shu only said that she wanted to become more beautiful and wanted to lose weight. Third brother said directly, "You're being compared to trash, so you want to struggle. I think you should give up. You've been fat since you were young. That's stubborn fat. You can't lose it." Ning Shu said, "Get lost." Even if it was stubborn fat, she didn't believe that it couldn't be lost. She didn't believe it at all. Eat less, move more, and let the body use up energy. Fuck, she didn't believe that she couldn't lose weight like this. But losing weight was really hard. Ning Shu felt that losing weight was even harder than cultivating. After all, as long as you started cultivating, it would be much easier. But losing weight wasn't like that. Being lazy and hating work was an instinct. Sinking into the sofa or the bed, she just wanted to stay motionless. She didn't want to get up and run. She was so tired that she was dizzy. This body rarely exercised. When she exercised, her mouth was dry and she wanted to vomit. Her lung capacity and so on were all abnormal. It wasn't good to continue being so fat. Third brother said, "You haven't been playing games recently. Now that you see me in the game, I ask you why you're not playing games anymore." Third brother was very depressed to find that his sister was actually so popular. Although she was from Blackfire, he was a godly player. Although he wasn't a top godly player, he was still a godly player who was good at maneuvering, was handsome, and had good skills. When he saw him, he asked, Your sister, your sister, your sister?" Ning Shu flipped her hair. "Is it because you can't find anyone to hate you? You're just waiting to see me make a fool of myself every day." These people were also bored. Should others go up and be mocked by them for fun? Do you really want to go to a high-end gaming gathering? Don't go. The people who go are all godly players. They're all handsome men and beautiful women. They were also IGN Coins players. In other words, it was a gathering of rich players who spent money on games. His sister was considered a rich person. She didn't know how to spend money at all. However, Handsome men and beautiful women had nothing to do with her. When the time came, she would wear a pink lace dress. Her body would be so tight that it would be impossible to look at her directly. How could this kind of girl be his fraternal twin? The whole family thought that she was as ugly as a pig. Ning Shu said directly, "I've spent money. Why can't I go? Remember to call me when the time comes. I'll definitely wear a beautiful dress. I'll feel good." Third brother was speechless. "With your figure, you'll be ugly no matter what you wear. Don't you have any idea about your own figure?" Moreover, her style of dressing was all cute. No one could criticize her. There were too many complaints. Ning Shu drew a circle on the calendar. Looking at the date, there were still more than 20 days. Looking at the calendar was especially motivating to lose weight. She boasted that she was very hardworking and looked down on the drunk and fat Tao Jing. "You're not the only one who knows how to lose weight. Who doesn't know how to lose weight? I'm ugly because I'm fat, unlike some people who are ugly for life." 2 days before the high-end gaming gathering, Ning Shu went shopping with Mother Tao. Of course, it was to buy clothes for the gathering. The clothes from before were a little too big and didn't cover the flesh. In addition, the clothes from before were not suitable for the gathering. Chapter 26:11. It was impossible for him to become as thin as lightning after losing weight for more than a month. Ning Shu still had some meat on his body, so he needed to match his clothes to cover it. Bat-sleeved clothes that were more loose could cover his body well. Clothes with high color saturation would make him look fat, so fat people should avoid wearing clothes with high color saturation. Otherwise, they would look old-fashioned and fat. Ning Shu chose a caramel color dress. The client had fair skin, so she looked good in caramel. He also chose a black dress. "When the time comes, I'll pick one of these 2 items." Mother Tao, on the other hand, chose a lot of clothes and shoes for herself. The mother and daughter carried shopping bags of various sizes home. Brother Yulin rummaged through the shopping bags. "Mom, you didn't buy anything for me?" He was going to the party too, okay? They were all women's shoes and clothes. Didn't he say that he would bring him some expensive clothes? There were so many pretty girls at the party. He couldn't be sloppy, right? He definitely had to dress up to look handsome. Mother Tao slapped her thigh. "Oh, I forgot. Why didn't you call me to remind me?" Brother Yulin chuckled. She had never thought of her son. She could even forget about her son when it came to shopping. "I told you to go with me, but you didn't. Now you're blaming me for not buying anything for you. You have no conscience." Brother Yulin couldn't be bothered to argue with her. No matter what, it was his fault. He took the keys to his motorcycle and drove to buy clothes himself. "Your brother is too much. There are so many branded clothes in the closet. Why did he still buy them?" Mother Tao complained. Ning Shu didn't reply. In terms of clothes, no one had more than Mother Tao in the family. Although the client was a girl, her hobby was to eat and eat. On the day of the party, Ning Shu went for a facial during the day because it was night time. She cried out in pain when she plucked the hair on her face. Ning Shu suddenly felt like a woman in ancient times was about to get married. She washed up, put on clothes, and put on makeup. She used the shadows and highlights to highlight her facial features. After putting on makeup, the client's facial features were even more prominent. Her facial features weren't bad. Although they weren't exquisite, she didn't have buck teeth and big nostrils. She looked much more delicate after slimming down. The moment Ning Shu stepped out of the door, she lifted her dress and twirled around in front of her family. "I'm pretty, right?" Father Tao gave her a thumbs up. "My daughter is so pretty, so pretty." Previously, she had been wearing sportswear and jumping around without stopping. Now that she was dressed up, she looked like a different person. Third brother was a little surprised. He had always thought that she was joking about losing weight. Looking at it now, she had really changed a lot. Ning Shu held third brother's arm. "You have to take care of me tonight. I'm scared." Third brother, what was he afraid of? "Although you've lost some weight, you're still ugly. Don't worry, no one will dare to do anything to you." Third brother rolled his eyes. Ning Shu smiled and stepped on his foot with his heel. Mother Tao was really worried about her daughter and told her to be careful of Big Bad Wolf. She was bullied by others, so he asked third brother to take care of her. Third brother was there to look at beautiful women, but now he had to take care of a burden. He was unhappy. When he said that he wanted to find a wife for Mother Tao sneered. Find a wife who plays games. You two stay at home every day. If I'm a corpse, my wife will be so lonely. We can only go far if we have the same hobbies. Third brother argued. Ning Shu said, Don't worry, you won't find a wife. He was so fierce to his sister. Who knew what he would be like to his girlfriend? The gaming party was in a rather luxurious hotel. There was a sign at the door that said, Gaming enthusiasts can go to the second floor. Ning Shu and third brother went up to the second floor. Third brother told Ning Shu, Follow me and don't run around. Also, if you see Yan Xingzhou, don't pounce on him. Ning Shu. Even if you see him coming back, don't pounce on him, Ning Shu retorted. Do I look like someone who would do those things? Then I am? If you chase after Yan Xingzhou in the game, I suspect that you will pounce on him. You even used money to lure him back. I suspect that you want to act like a domineering CEO and use money to lure him back. Come on, let's hurt each other. Just treat it as getting rid of evil for the people. The second floor was very lively. Under the beautiful lights, there were many rich gaming enthusiasts gathered. All of them were dressed to the nines. Third brother helped Ning Shu register his in-game ID and went to find his teammates. Ning Shu followed behind him and looked around. He saw returning. She had thick curly hair and a tall figure. She was wearing a tight red tube dress that accentuated her curves. She was sexy and charming. She was indeed beautiful. There were quite a few men trying to strike up a conversation with her, but they all seemed to be dispirited when they returned. They kept looking at the entrance of the hall. She was obviously waiting for someone. Yan Xingzhou hadn't arrived yet. Third brother found his teammates and introduced Ning Shu. This is my sister. Third brother felt that his sister had become a little prettier. She hadn't completely changed, but she was at least good-looking. You mean, I'm easy to feed? No way, she's really your sister? Her figure didn't look like it at all. The strange yelling attracted a lot of attention. Third brother said angrily, What are you yelling for? Did you get fucked? Third brother's words were obviously a little dirty in front of his teammates. All kinds of eyes gathered on Ning Shu like spotlights. Sneers, mockery, curiosity, suspicion, all kinds of eyes. Ning Shu's expression didn't change. He raised his head and puffed out his chest. Chubby girl went for plastic surgery? Someone asked. Tao Jing had lost a lot of weight. No wonder she's not playing games anymore. She went for plastic surgery. Ning Shu, plastic surgery? Brother San immediately said, Shut your mouth. I'll give you a month. Why don't you go for plastic surgery? A month, his face still wasn't swollen. Plastic surgery? His brain. As her brother, how could he not know if his sister had undergone plastic surgery? Ning Shu smiled and said, Thank you for saying that I've become prettier. A beauty that could only be achieved through plastic surgery. He was indeed a shameless fatty who didn't know his own limits. To be able to treat plastic surgery as a compliment. No one else could do it. Returning to look at Ning Shu, she frowned. Tao Jing actually lost weight. The previous Tao Jing had never thought about losing weight. Could it be that she wanted to compete with her? In the previous life, Yan Xingzhou's eyes were fixed on that kind of Tao Jing. The current Tao Jing must be more attractive to him. Lian Shui didn't understand. Where did the attraction between the two come from? Lian Shui and Ning Shu walked over. Everyone looked like they were going to watch a good show. After all, these two women were circling around Yan Xingzhou. Was it time to start a fight? The flames of war in the game had now spread to the real world. Ning Shu calmly saw Lian Shui walking towards him. She wore 10-centimeter high heels. As she walked over, her momentum was oppressive. Chapter 26:12. Hello, I'm Return. Lian Shui reached out her hand to Ning Shu. Ning Shu smiled and shook her hand, then said, I know, you're no different from the game, just as beautiful. Lian Shui felt that the other was mocking her, but the other's eyes were calm. But because of this calmness, as if there were no emotions, Lian Shue's heart was pierced and hurt. She thought that Tao Jing would feel inferior seeing her. After all, her beauty was not something Tao Jing could compare to, and she was the first to interact with Yan Xingzhou. And Tao Jing was a latecomer, destined to live in the shadow of her and Yan Xingzhou's past. But this calmness, no jealousy, no inferiority, as if she was a normal, ordinary person, and didn't even see her as an opponent. She used all her strength, but the other party didn't care about her at all. This feeling of punching cotton, holding her breath and not being able to vent was terrible. She had originally come to embarrass Tao Jing, but now, she had become embarrassed instead. She was really unhappy. Lian Shui couldn't say anything. She racked her brains and finally said, "You seem to be different from the game?" There were at least 81% of the game, but the difference was too big. It was hard to not be suspicious. Lian Shui also wanted to say that Tao Jing went for plastic surgery. Ning Shu said, "I lost weight. I was always called fatty in the game, so I felt that it was better to lose weight." Of course, no one can guarantee that they won't gain weight in their life. Ning Shu said it straightforwardly, but it made others speechless. They called people fatty in the game. Then it must be hard to lose weight. I remember that you like to eat a lot. Lian Shui said, wondering if Tao Jing felt that she wasn't attractive, so she lost weight. Ning Shu asked in surprise, "Was your body born like this, without exercise and a proper diet? Don't you know how hard it is? You want to say that you were born beautiful? Like a top student, you like to say that you don't study and don't take notes?" Lian Shui. She didn't want to talk to her. Did Yan Xingzhou like people with this kind of personality? To put it nicely, she was silly and sweet, but to put it bluntly, she was annoying. She spoke without thinking. Ning Shu sneered. "You're not even polite with your words, and you expect me to support you? If you stab me once, I'll stab you 10 times. I'm easy to take care of. Your words are too harsh. I came back because I care about you." Exactly, some people, both men and women, stood up for Lian Shui. However, Ning Shu did not care about these people at all. Anyway, when her body was slimmer, she would start to do quests, farm monsters, do a live stream, and then retire from the Jianghu. She would become a legend in the Jianghu. If you say that my skills are not good enough, I will practice. If you say that I am fat, I will lose weight. Let's see what you look like. Take a good look at yourself before mocking others. Lian Shui still wanted to say something, but she saw Yan Xingzhou and a few friends coming over. Yan Xingzhou was wearing casual clothes and looked very handsome. He was even more handsome than he was in the game. Some people were photogenic, while others weren't. They were more handsome in real life. Since everyone was here, it was time for everyone to take their seats. The game company probably did it on purpose. When they arranged the seats, Yan Xingzhou was flanked by girls. On one side was Ning Shu, and on the other was Lian Shui. Yan Xingzhou was sandwiched in the middle, like an emperor hugging a princess. Yan Xingzhou. The people around them started to jeer. Third brother was arranged to sit at another table. He pulled Ning Shu and said, "Be more reserved, don't pounce." Ning Shu nodded. "Don't worry." Third brother was even more worried. Ning Shu sat down graciously. Yan Xingzhou only glanced at her quickly, then looked at his phone and said, "There's someone here." "Yan Xingzhou, your news is outdated. I'm easy to take care of." The people at the table giggled. Yan Xingzhou turned to look at Ning Shu from head to toe. "You've lost weight?" "Yes," Ning Shu said. Yan Xingzhou didn't say anything. He just frowned. Lian Shui saw this and quickly said, "Yan Xingzhou, I have something to ask you." Yan Xingzhou looked at her. Lian Shui hurriedly asked a question about the operation of the game. In fact, Lian Shui didn't know what to ask. She just saw the two of them talking, so she panicked and found a topic. "You're a little fat girl. Did you go to H country for plastic surgery?" A handsome man asked. Ning Shu glanced at the sign in front of him. Song Mountain has a well called Kong. Ning Shu rolled her eyes. She didn't want to talk to him. This man mocked her every day. "Little fat girl, I'm asking you a question. You shut up. I don't want to talk to you." Ning Shu said directly. "Yo, you've become prettier. You've also become more bad-tempered. Let me tell you, women are not cute because they're pretty, but because they're cute. The handsome man made a heart. You're not good. Tisk tsk tsk? Ning Shu was disgusted. Sister, why didn't you say this when I was fat? A woman's appearance determines whether a man wants to understand a woman's heart. A woman's inner thoughts determine whether a man rejects a woman's appearance. Ning Shu, I don't want to listen to you. I didn't think so before in the game. Now that I look at you, you're also quite ugly. A man's appearance determines a woman's rejection of a man. Won't a woman consider a man's financial ability? He raised his eyebrows and asked. I have food, clothes, and money. I don't need to consider. The waiter began to serve the dishes. There were also various performances on the stage. Ning Shu looked at the singing and dancing on the stage. Lian Shui and Yan Xingzhou were whispering to each other. It looked like a couple whispering to each other. There was an indescribable ambiguity. A staff member of the game company brought over a box. It was a lottery. The prize would be a mythical beast plushie or a piece of equipment in the game. It was just for fun. Moreover, the wool came from the sheep's back. The money these rich players had invested in the game was not something a plushie could compare to. Ning Shu reached her hand into the box. She had drawn the lucky prize, a key ring. Ning Shu, she never seemed to have good luck. Yan Xingzhou casually drew a large plushie. It was a mythical beast. The craftsmanship was quite good. It was very lifelike. Here you go. Yan Xingzhou casually passed the plushie to Ning Shu. Ning Shu was stunned. Thank you. I'll take it then. It was just a plushie. Yan Xingzhou probably didn't want it to take up space. Yan Xingzhou continued to discuss tactics with Lian Shui. However, Lian Shui's heart had flown to the plushie in Ning Shu's arms. Why did Yan Xingzhou give the plushie to Tao Shui? Even if it was just a casual gift, it should have been given to her. She was talking to Yan Xingzhou. What did Yan Xingzhou mean? Did he still like Tao Jing? Although it was just a plushie, Lian Shui didn't like it. Chapter 26:13. But this doll was given to her by Yan Xingzhou. He just casually gave it to her. Lian Shui couldn't help but overthink. The fate between the two made Lian Shui feel as if a fishbone was stuck in her throat. Ning Shu was also very depressed. Looking at the feast on the table, it all looked very delicious, but she had to control herself as she was on a diet. When she returned to the system space, she must go to a restaurant and eat a big meal. Song Mountain has a well empty-handed was the best. He actually drew a famous brand diamond hairpin. Although the diamonds were small, there were a lot of them. Such a hairpin really shined on the head. It was something that many girls wanted. Little fat girl, beg me. Beg me and I'll give you the hairpin. Song Mountain has a well empty-handed held the hairpin in his hand. Under the light, the hairpin shined brightly and shone brightly. Ning Shu directly said, You can keep it for yourself. This kind of shining stone was useless. It wasn't a star stone. If you don't want it, I'll give it to someone else. Song Mountain has a well empty-handed said. Ning Shu ignored him. Song Mountain has a well empty-handed gave the hairpin to Lian Shui. Lian Shui's face was as ugly as if she had stepped on feces. Tao Jing didn't want to give her something that she didn't want. Was she like a beggar, giving her something that others didn't want? Lian Shui coldly said, You should give it to another girl. I don't like diamonds. To be precise, she didn't like things that Tao Jing didn't like. Ning Shu glanced at Lian Shui. He felt that Lian Shui's self-esteem was a bit inexplicable. She was inferior and arrogant. She was inferior to her previous life, but also had a sense of superiority from her rebirth. She could interpret a lot of other people's actions in her heart. Don't pull it. Song Mountain has a well empty-handed directly to a passing waiter. The waiter was immediately flattered and almost dropped the plate. Everyone, let's eat. For a moment, the table was full of toasts and drinks. Ning Shu picked up some light things to eat and then kept drinking water. Despair. When the stomach became smaller, even if he ate very little, he would feel full. He wouldn't be afraid of getting fat. As long as the client didn't eat too much, he definitely wouldn't get fat. Ning Shu was now like a snail, nibbling on the green leaves bit by bit. Chubby little girl, I'll toast you. Come and touch it, give me some face. Song Mountain's Jing Ming Kong raised his wine cup. Sure, cheers. Ning Shu picked up the juice and clinked glasses with him. All right. He shrugged his shoulders and drank all the wine. His face was flushed red. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. If you can't drink, why are you pretending to be so generous? Did you receive the money I sent you? Yan Xingzhou asked casually. Ning Shu nodded. Got it. He had already used it. Why are you on a diet? Yan Xingzhou seemed to be really curious. Seeing how she could take a few bites of a vegetable leaf, he didn't feel uncomfortable. Ning Shu, this brother must be here to poke at his wounds. Ning Shu said, to meet a better version of myself. Lian Shui felt so tired. She couldn't even find a topic to stop these two people from talking. Why did Yan Xingzhou talk to Tao Jing? Was it because Tao Jing had become beautiful? So these two people were going to be together again? She took the initiative to talk to Yan Xingzhou, but Yan Xingzhou took the initiative to talk to Tao Jing. Why, the whole palace was unfair. Her beauty was obtained through hard work. Why did Tao Jing want to get what she wanted when she was beautiful? She couldn't get it even if she tried her best. Lian Shui was so angry that she couldn't eat. Tao Jing had lost weight and worked hard. Others only saw her beauty after losing weight. That was because she was too ugly, stupid. Compared to this, she was like a fairy. How much perseverance did she need to maintain such a figure? Her figure had been maintained through training and eliminating oily and spicy foods. Lian Shui felt so wrong that she wanted to cry. She was powerless. How could Yan Xingzhou like her? He would rather like a stupid and delicious girl. Why didn't he like her? What was the point of her rebirth? The things she wanted to change couldn't be changed. She looked like a bird eating food. Don't think that she didn't know how much Tao Jing loved to eat. Fake. If they weren't in public, Lian Shui wouldn't have been able to control her tears. Wronged, very wronged. Third brother had been paying attention to Ning Shu. Seeing that Ning Shu didn't do anything embarrassing in front of so many people, he finally let out a sigh of relief. This stupid girl was at least a little sensible. Being so fierce at this time was really embarrassing. The meal ended in a strange atmosphere. There were various activities like singing and dancing. If players wanted to go up and sing, that was fine. At this time, the popular ones like Lian Shui were encouraged to go up and sing. Lian Shui was someone who did live broadcasts every day. No matter how many people she faced, she didn't have stage fright. She did a very sexy dance. She was beautiful and her legs were long. Lian Shui's dance was filled with temptation. Ning Shu propped up his chin and looked at her. Lian Shui had good looks, and the money she earned from broadcasting was enough for her to invest. However, she felt like she was walking into a dead end. She was determined to get Yan Xingzhou. Little fat girl, go up and sing a song. Song Mountain's Jing is empty, said to Ning Shu with flushed cheeks. Ning Shu, sing your sister? Lian Shui got off the stage. She was slightly out of breath. She said to Ning Shu, you go and perform too. Ning Shu felt like he was watching a brothel fight for the top courtesan. Singing and dancing, Ning Shu seemed to have never done it before. Seriously, singing and dancing in front of so many people. No, I was fat before. I couldn't dance or sing. I ate too many snacks and my throat was poisoned by junk food. Lian Shui, why didn't you become mute? She felt like she was an idiot when she danced on the stage. She could bring up the fact that she was fat. If she forced her to sing and dance, it would make her seem very mean. Lian Shui was so angry that her head was dizzy. However, she had to maintain the image of a goddess. The other party could be shameless, but she couldn't. She also couldn't bring up her dark history so easily. Speaking of dark history, it was Lian Shui's dark history in her previous life. She would never tell anyone about something that would damage her image, such as getting a facial and shaving her leg hair. Lian Shui was very irritated. She was most afraid of Tao Jing and Yan Xingzhou being together. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. Third brother wanted to raise his hand and sing a song. Her sister really didn't know anything. She only knew which restaurants wonton was delicious, which restaurants braised food, and which restaurants tonkatsu. She said it clearly and logically. I'll go and sing a song. Yan Xingzhou stood up, pulled out a chair and got on the stage. Everyone applauded. Lian Shui almost exploded. What did Yan Xingzhou mean by this? Was he helping Tao Jing out? She was panting and sweating all over, but Yan Xingzhou didn't say anything. Ah. Chapter 26:14. Yan Xingzhou was very popular in the game. He was handsome and had a large group of female fans. He went on stage to sing, and the applause was thunderous. Ning Shu looked at him and opened his mouth. Surprisingly, Yan Xingzhou's singing was unexpectedly bad. Logically speaking, if his voice wasn't bad, his singing shouldn't be too bad either. But his singing wasn't on the beat at all. It wasn't even on the same tune. It was awkward the whole time. The enthusiastic applause immediately stopped after he opened his mouth. It was almost a form of torture. Everyone listened to Yan Xingzhou awkwardly finish the song. The applause at the end was unexpectedly loud and enthusiastic. He finally finished singing. Yan Xingzhou smiled and thanked everyone, saying that his family didn't like his singing. Ning Shu hugged the mythical beast plushie. Yan Xingzhou was tone-deaf? But he seemed to feel good about himself. He felt that his singing was good, but his family didn't know how to appreciate it. Yan Xingzhou got off the stage and sat back in his seat. He had a smile on his face, his eyes twinkling. Lian Shui saw his high-spirited appearance and said, "You sang very well. Song Mountain has a well is empty. Gilai, don't give this kid face." How was his singing good? His tone was very impolite. The tone-deaf Yan Xingzhou could also be praised for his singing. Was Guilai deaf? Lian Shui said, "If I think it's good, then it's good. My level of appreciation is not the same as yours." Yan Xingzhou turned his head and asked Ning Shu, "What do you think of my singing?" Ning Shu said, "It's not good. It's not good." Really? My mom said the same thing, Yan Xingzhou said. Lian Shui, your sister? She said it was good in the beginning, and Yan Xingzhou slapped her in the face. Whatever Tao Jing said was right. How could it be like this? Ning Shu was also a little confused. You asked me, of course I'll tell you the truth. I don't need to please you. But Yan Xingzhou didn't speak to Ning Shu. He kept looking at his watch. Lian Shui asked, "Do you have other plans?" It seemed like he was in a hurry to leave. Yan Xingzhou shook his head. No. Ning Shu bit on the straw and drank water. He did not eat the dishes on the table and drank a stomach full of water. He was jealous when he saw others eating meat and drinking wine. Jealousy makes me ugly. The gaming party was very lively. With Yan Xingzhou's ugly words, everyone was eager to go on stage and perform. Yan Xingzhou's singing was so bad, yet he was so confident. At the very least, they could sing better than Yan Xingzhou. In any case, everyone was inexplicably confident. There was a well in Sung Mountain called Kong. He even ran up and danced. He danced around Ning Shu, grabbing onto Ning Shu's chair and swaying back and forth. So flirtatious. Ning Shu really wanted to slap a plate of meat on his face. It was one thing to be coquettish on the stage, but how dare he grab her chair? Ning Shu looked at the drunk Song Mountain. Yujing is empty with an indifferent face the whole time, shaking his butt coquettishly. After the dance, Ning Shu, who was raising his pinky finger, asked, "Chubby girl, did I dance well?" Ning Shu. So ugly. It was as if he had a seizure. There was a well in Song Mountain called Kong. I knew you would say that. Seeing so many people holding their phones, she guessed that when he woke up tomorrow, there was a well in Song Mountain called Kong. After seeing her flirtatious behavior on the gaming forum, he probably wouldn't dare to appear in the game for a long time. Great, these people in the game wouldn't only catch her to make fun of her. Lian Shui took a deep breath and then another. She really didn't understand why there was a well in Song Mountain called Kong liked to tease Tao Jing so much. In the game, every time Tao Jing embarrassed herself, he would laugh the most exaggeratedly. Every time he would call her over to embarrass himself. Now, was it because he saw that she was beautiful? He leaned over again. Memorall like this. Lian Shui looked at Ning Shu, who was biting his straw, with disdain. That damn fatty had asked Yen Xingzhou to marry her. Now that she had lost weight, was she going to attract that sloppy well in Song Mountain called Kong again? Where did Tao Jing's charm come from? Even if she lost weight, she was still very fleshy. Where was she good looking? Where was her charm? She was fucking blind. While eating, third brother still had to look over here. There were beauties hitting on him, but he wasn't in the mood to deal with them. Seeing someone dancing around a girl, third brother's face darkened. Fuck, how dare you shake your butt in front of his girl? I'll tear your butt apart. Tao Jing was a dumbass. Didn't she know how to avoid it? She even said she wanted to find a wife, but now she was worried about Tao Jing. Tao Jing fucking came to collect her debt. Song Mountain called Kong went to the toilet dizzily. Third brother immediately followed him and kicked him from behind. He directly kicked Song Mountain called Kong on the toilet floor. He didn't get up for a long time. Fuck, who is it? Fuck, who did this to him? Third brother pretended that nothing had happened. He went back to Ning Shu and said, "It's getting late. Let's go home." Ning Shu also felt that it was time to go back. Anyway, he had already acted pretentious. After acting pretentious, he would run away. Song Mountain called Kong came out of the toilet. His eyes darkly scanned the people present. His brain wasn't clear. He didn't see who had kicked him. Now, he looked at everyone as if they were the ones who had kicked him. Third brother was stared at by Song Mountain called Kong, but his face didn't turn red. "You kicked me? Are you crazy?" Ning Shu pulled third brother. "Let's go." He didn't want to lower himself to the level of a drunkard. Song Mountain called Kong grabbed third brother's arm. "Don't go. Did you kick me?" After thinking about it, this man was the most likely. He was protecting his girl and his sister. Didn't he just dance around his sister? Third brother looked innocent and confused. He pried his hand away. "What are you doing? Don't be crazy. We're all people with status and good manners." At this moment, everyone came over to stop the fight. Yen Xingzhou pulled Song Mountain called Kong. "Stop messing around. At most, we'll settle it in the game." There was nothing that couldn't be settled with a fight in the game. Just you wait. See if I'll torture you in the game. I'll kill you every time I see you. Third brother. At most, I'll buy more equipment. Let's fight. Let's see who will torture who. Just like that, the matter was settled. Lian Shui was a little disappointed. She thought that Tao Jing's brother and Song Mountain called Kong would fight. Tao Jing and Yen Xingzhou would never be together again. Her brother had a conflict with the person he liked. She didn't believe that Yen Xingzhou would still like Tao Jing. Lian Shui said, "This might be a misunderstanding. But I saw the two of you enter the toilet one after the other." Third brother narrowed his eyes at Lian Shui. "You saw me go to the toilet? Were you spying on me?" Third brother felt like he was being forced to eat shit. This matter was going to be settled like this. He had already said that they would settle it in the game. What did she mean by saying that in front of so many people? Why did he reward her every day? Damn it. He would rather throw the money into the water than give it to her. Song Mountain called Kong was also embarrassed. He sobered up halfway. Chapter 26:15. Before, it was just a guess, so he didn't say it out loud. Now that it was out in the open, if he didn't do anything, if he didn't fight, wouldn't he be too ashamed to live? Song Mountain has a well-named Kong also blamed Gui Lai for not knowing how to speak. Just one sentence was enough to make the situation awkward. Yen Xingzhou put his hand on Song Mountain has a well-named Kong's shoulder. "Okay brother, let's go." Ning Shu pulled his third brother away and said to Song Mountain has a well-named Kong, "Next time you drink and go to the bathroom, be careful. Don't fall into the cesspool." Song Mountain has a well-named Kong. What a fucking cesspool. Lian Shui naturally felt the reproach in Song Mountain has a well-named Kong's eyes. Her heart was stifled. Although the timing of her words wasn't right, it was definitely Tao Jing's third brother who did it. Her brothers were very protective. She heard that when Yen Xingzhou and Tao Jing got married in her previous life, they pulled Yen Xingzhou into the room and beat him up. It was a real beating. Lian Shui really couldn't tell how Tao Jing was cute and had brothers who were so protective of her. Lian Shui suddenly felt like a failure. After her rebirth, she was extremely hardworking, but she couldn't compare to Tao Jing, who only ate and ate all day and was incomparably stupid. She didn't have to do anything and could live well. The gaming company saw that the atmosphere wasn't right. These rich people were going to fight. That wouldn't be good, so they immediately asked the staff to bring over gifts. The gaming company gave everyone a gift bag. There were cosmetics, jewelry, and all in all, some small trinkets. Third brother took a set of cosmetics and said that he was bringing it back for the old woman at home. This old woman was obviously talking about Mother Tao. Ning Shu chose a jewelry and ended up grabbing the same box with one hand. Inside the box was a tourmaline bracelet. It was very beautiful. Ning Shu looked up and saw Lian Shui's pretty face. Was he destined to fight with Lian Shui? Lian Shui also felt very unlucky. Tao Jing really clashed with her life. Every time she wanted something, Tao Jing would snatch it away. Equipment, pet egg. When she saw the tourmaline bracelet, she snatched it again. Lian Shui didn't let go. Ning Shu also didn't let go. The two of them were in a deadlock. The surrounding people all looked over. Lian Shui really wanted to generously let go and show her good manners. However, she had her things stolen time and time again before letting go. Did they really think that she was a pushover? If he kept retreating like this, he would have nowhere to retreat to. What was the point of her rebirth? Although it was just a tourmaline bracelet and she could afford it, she couldn't vent her anger. Furthermore, there weren't any extra gifts. Just one piece for each style. Third brother glanced at the bracelet in the box. Don't take it. I'll buy you a bracelet. It wasn't like they couldn't afford it. Give it to Gui Lai. It's not easy for Gui Lai to do live broadcasts all day. Money is hard to earn and shit tastes bad. Lian Shui was speechless. She had completely offended Tao Jing's third brother. When she returned, she knew that Tao Jing's brother had tipped her, but she didn't think much of it. She didn't like anyone related to Tao Jing. However, it still hurt a little to lose a rich fan. Ning Shu loosened his grip. I'll give it to you then. Even if she brought it home, she would leave it at home and would not wear it. However, since it was a gift from the gaming company, it would be a waste not to take it. Ning Shu picked out a new pair of pearl earrings and brought it back for Mother Tao. Lian Shui held the jewelry box. She didn't feel any joy from getting something, nor did she feel any excitement from snatching something from Tao Jing. The other party had thrown it to her with pity and didn't seem to like it very much. It was dispensable, but she had tried her best to snatch it. However, the other party didn't care at all. Fuck, this feeling really made Lian Shui want to vomit blood. Fuck you. If she continued to pester her, the other party would say, I've already given it to you. What else do you want? Lian Shui really wanted to throw it at Tao Jing's face. Ning Shu saw that her face had turned green and the veins on her forehead were popping out. Her face was trembling and she looked very ferocious. This kind of person couldn't be offended. If you gave it to her, she would feel insulted. If you snatched it away, she would hate you for the rest of her life. He didn't know what to do. I'll give it to you. Yan Xingzhou casually picked up a brooch. The brooch was made of crystal, and he passed it to Ning Shu. It was fine if it was just a doll, but this crystal brooch was a branded product. He rejected it directly. I'm taking it. I don't want yours. He walked around Yan Xingzhou and left the hotel with Brother San. As soon as they left the hotel, the cool night breeze hit them in the face. Brother San saw Ning Shu shiver and laughed. You deserve it. You want elegance over warmth. You really think you're beautiful. Wait here. I'll go get the motorcycle. Brother San had spent a lot of money to buy his motorcycle. It was very cool. Ning Shu stood at the door and waited. He was bumped into by someone. He rushed forward and steadied himself. Seeing Lian Shui, Ning Shu sneered and said, You're so stingy. You're not happy when I give it to you. You're still unhappy when I don't give it to you. What do you want me to do? Ning Shu said directly. Lian Shui cared more about her face than Ning Shu. He could smash a broken jar, but she couldn't. She had to maintain her image of a goddess. She asked back, What are you talking about? I didn't say anything. Ning Shu smiled, revealing 2 small canine teeth. Just as he was about to speak, the car horn sounded. Yan Xingzhou said, "I have a seat in my car. I can give you a ride." Lian Xuan naturally opened the door and sat in the front passenger seat. This way, she was closer to Yan Xingzhou. Most importantly, there was a drunkard in the back. Facing him, Lian Xue felt a little guilty. Yan Xingzhou's finger was on the steering wheel. Seeing Ning Shu standing there, he said, "Let's go together. I'll give you a ride." Give you a ride? Why did it sound like he was sending her to her death? Ning Shu said, "I'm waiting for my brother." "No need." Lian Xue said, "She has someone to send her. Let's take care of the one who doesn't have anyone to send her." How could people who could spend a lot of money on entertainment not have transportation? They all had cars. Other than the drunk Song Shan Yujing and Lian Xue, no one else sat in Yan Xingzhou's car. Lian Xue didn't drive because she wanted Yan Xingzhou to give her a ride. There was a breakthrough development. He sent her home. There was a bit of an ambiguous relationship. But Yan Xingzhou actually wanted to call Tao Jing to the car. This made Lian Xue angry and powerless. She felt that Yan Xingzhou treated Tao Jing differently. Sangu drove a coquettish motorcycle over. He handed the helmet to Ning Shu. Ning Shu put on the helmet and got on the motorcycle. Leaving behind a trail of smoke, he drove away. Yan Xingzhou also started the car and asked Lian Xue for her address. Lian Xue looked at the big light bulb sleeping in the back and said, "I saw Song Shan Yujing. I don't feel well. Send him back first." "I don't care. I can go home anytime." Compared to going home, Yan Xingzhou felt that his brother was more important. Song Shan Yujing's home was a big villa with a garden and a swimming pool. Chapter 26:16. With this kind of living environment, it was obvious that they were rich. Lian Xue was surprised. She knew that Song Mountain has a well-named Kong's family was rich. He was Yan Xingzhou's brother, so he must be rich. Song Mountain has a well-named Kong was helped to the sofa by Yan Xingzhou. But what greeted him was a big basin of water. His father splashed him with a basin of ice water. He was so cold that he jumped up. Lian Xue was speechless. This move. Song Mountain has a well-named Kong woke up and wiped the water off his face. "Old man, there are outsiders here. Can't you give me some face? If I find out that you're fooling around again, I'll break your legs." Lian Xue hurriedly explained, "Uncle, he's not fooling around. It's a game party, so, okay, don't say any more." The old man stopped Lian Xue and said to Yan Xingzhou, "Xingzhou, please send him back." "It's okay. I'm leaving." Lian Xue was interrupted by Song Mountain has a well-named Kong's father. She felt like her heart was scratching at her lungs. She felt that this old man was looking down on her. Interrupting people like this showed that he was looking down on them. Lian Xue followed Yan Xingzhou out of the villa. She looked back at the brightly lit villa. It was magnificent. One day, she would be able to build such a good house herself. Yan Xingzhou sent Lian Xue home. The two were silent until they arrived at Lian Xue's place. Lian Xue awkwardly thanked him. Yan Xingzhou directly said no thanks and reversed the car and left. Lian Xue was speechless. Damn it. Lian Xue wanted to curse in her heart. At the same time, she felt powerless. It was like she was invisible in her previous life. She couldn't get what she wanted. Ning Shu and third brother returned home. Mother Tao smiled and asked, "Was the party fun?" "Ning Shu, I'm hungry. Very hungry. I'm starving to death." Ning Shu immediately rushed into the kitchen and rummaged through the fridge to find something to eat. Mother Tao looked at her son. She didn't eat. Third brother rolled his eyes and said disdainfully, "She pretended to be a lady outside and ate bird food. When she came back, she was like a pig reincarnated." Ning Shu found 2 packets of meal replacement powder, brewed it, and ate it. Only then did she feel a little full. She sighed comfortably. "Oh my, I'm finally alive again." After eating a little, Ning Shu felt his stomach bulging. He couldn't help but raise his head, puff out his chest, and suck in his stomach. How sad. Ning Shu basically didn't meet any fatties when he was doing missions. What was more tragic was that he had to pick up trash to eat and couldn't eat his fill all day. But even though there was food to eat, he still had to starve and carry on with his weight loss business to the end. Ning Shu ran upstairs to the gym for a jog. Third brother handed the skincare products and pearl earrings to Mother Tao. For you, this brand's products are all pretty good. Mother Tao happily accepted it. Ning Shu was sweating profusely from running. He took a shower and fell asleep on the bed. However, since he couldn't fall asleep, Ning Shu decided to play games in the gaming cabin. I haven't logged into the game for a long time, so I might as well start from the beginner's village and raise my level. Using consciousness to control the game, Ning Shu had only seen this kind of fancy game style in the galactic dimension. The others were all client-side games. His consciousness was immersed in the game. Ning Shu chose the beginner's village. The surroundings were beautifully made. It was these scenes that made the gaming cabin worth the money. Ning Shu went to a bandit's nest to rescue a kidnapped woman under the instructions of the NPC in the beginner's village. Okay, chivalrous and righteous. I like it. Ning Shu rode his donkey towards the bandit's nest. The scenery on the road was especially beautiful. Ning Shu thought for a moment, then took out a set of beautiful clothes from his backpack. The celestial clothes were exquisite. Anyone who wore it would look like a beautiful little fairy. Ning Shu arrived at the bandit's nest. He shouted loudly and destroyed the bandit's nest, saving the beautiful woman. After completing the task, Ning Shu received some experience. Without hesitation, Ning Shu hurriedly did other quests, trying to complete more quests in 3 hours and raise his level. If he walked together with the Great God's team, he wouldn't be attacked so much. The client didn't care, but Ning Shu came. Since returning cared so much about the game, then he should have a good fight. As for whether the client would play the game or not, it was uncertain. But it was good to let the light of the goddess gradually dim. You've been reborn. You have a chance to start your life again. Why do you insist on stealing other people's things? Hate people who were happy in their previous life? There are many happy people in the world, but there are also many troubled people. Can you hate them all? There's a problem with your mentality. If you don't find a perfect man to marry, it seems that life has no meaning. After 3 hours, Ning Shu was forced to quit the game. His head was a bit tired, so he went to sleep. In the future, Ning Shu spent 3 hours leveling up in addition to training every day. Ning Shu paid special attention to Returning's live broadcast. There were no updates, which meant that Returning hadn't done any live broadcasts recently. Song Mountain has a well is empty also didn't invite her to join the Great God's team to clear dungeons. Since she didn't clear dungeons, she naturally didn't do any live broadcasts. Returning probably wasn't in a good mood recently, so she didn't do any live broadcasts. Ning Shu thought about it and decided to clear a low-level dungeon and do a live broadcast. He didn't expect the live broadcast to make money. It was just to annoy Returning. Once Returning suffered a setback, it was easy for her to become depressed. And as someone who claimed to have been reborn, she wanted everything to be perfect. If she couldn't, she would fall into a state of madness. Endless frustration, pain, and discomfort, she would start to deny herself. To put it bluntly, Returning was a person with a very weak heart. This small dungeon was nothing to Ning Shu, so he quickly finished it. The idea of the live broadcast was, "I'm easy to feed." After all, this game name was very popular in the game. Maybe it could attract a large wave of fans. Ning Shu's daily life was very regular. He trained and played games for 3 hours. He slowly leveled up and lost weight. Ning Shu felt that he had lost a lot of weight. He didn't dare to lose weight too quickly because his skin would become loose. Third brother, "Oh, you're actually doing a live broadcast?" Third brother gobbled down the instant noodles in one gulp. The aroma wafted into Ning Shu's nose, making her drool. "I'm doing it. I just think it's fun. Do you think a game broadcast made by a trash gamer will attract a lot of people?" Ning Shu said. Third brother wiped his mouth with a tissue. "I saw it. Your skills aren't that bad. You want to compete with Returning, right?" "You're wrong. I'm not competing with her. I don't rely on live broadcasts to make a living. I'm just disgusted by her. Third brother. This is the first time I've seen you explode with such passion other than eating. Ning Shu, don't worry. I'll be back to my old self soon. The client was a naive foodie. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.